night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling them wrong. You got me like, oh yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling them wrong. Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling them wrong. You got me like, oh yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling them wrong. Hey, oh yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling them wrong. You got me like, oh yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling them wrong.
Oh, look at me. I'm retarded. I'm a globe.
No one told you life was gonna be this way. Your job's a joke, you broke. Your love life's the old way. It's like you're always stuck in second gear. When it hasn't been your day, week, your month, or even your year. But I'll be there for you when the rain starts to pour. I'll be there for you like I've been there before. I'll be there for you 'cause I'm there for
The whole system is designed to disconnect you from your intuition. Why? Disconnected people are easy to manipulate. Everything from sunscreen to politics to the food industry. It's all designed to disconnect and manipulate you. We are in the middle of a war right now, but it's not a traditional war. It's a war on consciousness. It's a war on freedom. This is the time to listen, not to the news. No, your intuition, your gut, your heart. Love is the greatest weapon against darkness. How do you love more? You begin by loving yourself. How do you love yourself? You listen to the messages your body is telling you.
Slaves used to work all day, every day, with no pay. But they got free food, water, and shelter. Today, we work all day, nearly every day, and we get paid. But the money we make, we spend on food, water, and shelter. We're still slaves. The only thing that has changed is the illusion of freedom.
I just know we found something so wild of the ordinary. You got me kissing the ground when you say you left.
I'm scared, Dad.
Do you trust me, son?
Yes.
Come on, son. Rule number 1, never trust anybody.
I've told you 1,000 times, Michelle is not a man, okay? So please stop calling her Big Mike. She really hates that. I really don't know what else to say. I just need you guys to believe me, okay? Michelle is not a man, I promise. So stop calling her Big Mike, okay?
Stop! Don't touch me there. This is my no-no sweater.
I am struggling extremely with mental health issues. and I am trying to do that whilst being FTFE. And unfortunately, talking to flat earthers is quite painful.
All right, thank you, Craig.
Riverside, wait for me, I'll be coming home, wait.
Law. Nowhere in nature or in a controlled environment can we ever produce a volume outside of containment.
What's that?
Has gas been seen or
what's that, brother?
Now let me see you drop it to the flow, drop it to the flow, then.
Chicken, banana, chicken, banana, chicken, banana, banana, banana.
I remember when I lost my mind.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Sovereign Soul Unchained Mind. I'm Sovereign Soul, or you can call me Jerry Fletcher, or you call me anything you want to, as long as you don't call me late for dinner. That's one thing I hate. Anyway, I'm here coming live from, obviously, the battlefields of Verdun. No, we're here on this beautiful Veterans Day, another one of our little prescribed marker points that they give us through our daily, weekly, monthly, yearly resets that we go through. And as time goes by, it seems faster and faster and faster. It seems like these resets just stack up on each other. These little reset marker points. We'll be coming up on another one here soon. We call it Thanksgiving. And then, of course, we have Christmas and then New Year's, and everybody loses their mind, watches a ball drop, makes a bunch of promises to themselves that they have no fucking intention of keeping. They're just virtue promises. And then we go on with our little resets. We get up at the same time. We eat the same thing. We go to the same job, and we get weak through the weekdays. We're weak through the weekdays. And then comes the end of the weakness. We have the weekend where we can take our time and recharge. But don't stop there, because we have all of the prescribed activities for you on the weekend. There's the gladiatorial spectacles of football or basketball or whatever the sport is, bread and circus. So they keep you entertained that way. People make a lot of grandioso plans for the weekend that never come to fruition because they're just too goddamn tired. Well, let me see. It's good to have everybody in here. Did I put I did not put a link. I did not put a link. Look at that. I am slacking. There it is. And I'm going to put it up into the chat where it's supposed to be. Over on the Rumble side, the link to come up on panel is down in the description. I will, of course, put it over here in the chat anyways. We got Flat Bro, who is also LJ, I believe, over on the Rumble side that sent me a $5 super chat. I highly appreciate that. Thank you. It says it's LJ, Uncle Sab. Us veterans, how hard you destroyed that Globetard West yesterday. Had me laughing my ass off. You are untouchable to the spinning space ball with curved seawater Globetard NPC. Listen, you guys can all be that. Y'all can do that. You got to keep these very things in mind, man. They got to reconcile those basic physical impossibilities. And they're the ones with the positive claim. They said, oh, prove your earth is flat. Dude, I have an observation. Your claim goes against my observation. So I'm sorry. That's all you have is a reversal fallacy. So you can stick that right up your ass. We're not going to do that. So, yeah, real good. What do we got in here? We got Bear Jew here tonight with us. We got Tourette 30-6. We got Lord Racer Santero is here with us tonight. Heron Song. Well, we got them from Canada. We got people from everywhere on this show. We got people over in Scotland. We got people in South Africa come here. We've got people in Australia. I would have to think that it's probably mostly English-speaking country people. I don't know, unless they offer closed captions for change. I don't know what Google does these days anyway. Let's see. We got TJ Hoffs here with us tonight. Sugary Nose. Sugaring hose. Booger Sugar, Lazy Philo Math. We got Nate is here with us tonight. Nate X. We got Lisa Ward, Brad and Tasha, one or both. Either way, we're glad to have them. We got unindoctrinated, says that she's moist now. That's nice. You know, I know somebody who can't stand that word moist. They think it's like a dirty word. I hate it. Say, what's it like outside? I say, it's kind of moist. No, don't say that. It's funny as shit. Spiral Graffiti, Fuzzy Booger, Sergeant Rock of Easy Company. Oh, Sergeant Rock, you is the most violent. You really are about the most vile maggot on YouTube. Well, thank you. Coming from you, that means like absolutely nothing. Let me see who else we got on here. Lowry's in the house. Lowry. Got some crazy shit going on in this world too, boy. I'll tell you what. Just entertaining as all get out, I gotta say. I didn't have to be to work. I got to work today. It was about, I don't know, about 10 o'clock. Yeah, that's what time I showed up. 10 o'clock. Worked for a couple hours, putting down some trim, and took lunch, came back and did a little bit more, and it was really kind of a relaxing, easy day. I like running trim. I really do. Nanje Parle Francais. David is in here with us. Martin Haley. And Subi Ratio. Stinky Cash is here. The man's going viral all over TikTok. You better be careful, man. You know who owns that thing now. If you hear the shot, it wasn't meant for you, or they were just a bad shot. Listen, these people are playing for keeps. They're really desperate at this point. Going after all these people that they've provided for us for the different aspects of the media here. That's what I'm trying to figure out with these guys is what's their next step. We're finding some really cool shit. Now, see, this is just, that's too much ink on a girl right there. All right, let me see here. Oh, yeah, did y'all hear where Kash Patel's girlfriend is? Who's the guy's name? Elijah Schaefer from Slightly Offensive. She's suing him for $5 million for calling her a honeypot, and he never called her a honeypot. That should be interesting. That should be really interesting. We'll see how that goes out. I don't know if y'all know who Pastor Anderson is. I don't necessarily, I think he's a little bit of a zealot, but he does make some good points in this little video clip here. Let me see what everybody's saying in here right now. 110, that's what I said to Stinky. I said, Stinky Cash there. I said, Jeff, I sent him like a little voice message thing. I said, 109, 109. We got 109. Can we get a bit of 110? United States, 110. Do I hear 110? You're antiseptic, Sav. Oh, that's right. I'm the most vile person on the internet, which means that apparently, according to these people like that, means that I have surpassed Nick Fuentes. Yeah, eat it, Nick. That's right. I'm more antiseptic than you. You know, this is the thing. They've used that fucking term so much that nobody cares. This is the thing. Just pick a word. Just pick a fucking word and just repeat it over and 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 over. Do it in your mind. Say it aloud. Any word. I don't care what you use. Lighter, 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 lighter. Pretty soon it's just a noise. And this is what it's just a sound. And this is what's happened with their yelling of ooh, anti-Semite, you know, okay, whatever. And their talking points, it's like, you know, hey man, I really think that they should do something about this genocide and killing kids over in Gaza. I really do think that they should do. Oh, why do you hate Jews? What? How did the fuck is that? You know, I don't think China should be exterminating the Uyghurs. Oh, why do you hate Chinese people? Throw it in the same basket, man. It makes just as much sense, right? What is a can autocorrect is retarded? One more quarter in here. What do we got, you guys? What do you got? What's up, chat? Hey, Sam, God bless all you. I think the next thing is the fake alien invasion. Yeah. I was just watching a thing a minute ago. Somebody talking about a website they took down because it was showing these alien crafts were entering the Earth's system. I mean, it literally coming into our atmosphere and whatnot. And I'm like, right. Do. Oh, come on, y'all. You're going to get probed in the butt. That's all. Everybody's going to get probed in the butt and they're going to like it. And that's all. And they'll have no memory of it until later under hypnosis. I don't know. Why would people travel light years across the galaxy if that were such a thing, merely to probe a hillbilly up the ass? I mean, what's up, man? We got a whole alien race of ass freaks, or what's going on with these people? I don't even get it. But anyway, hey, let's fly light years to this little infinitesimally small planet and we'll probe some of the people up the ass and shit. And hey, let's take all the blood out of some cows while we're at it. Get out of here with that. Get out of here with that. Anyways, this is Steven Anderson, and he was talking with Mr. Stu Peters. Go ahead and play that for you.
Once you have kind of been shown this, or kind of just at least had your mind opened to the possibility that maybe we've been lied to about Israel, it's on every page of the New Testament. It's right there. I mean, you literally start reading the New Testament in Matthew chapter 1, and you get to the first sermon of the New Testament in Matthew 3, where John the Baptist starts out by saying, "Think not to say within yourselves, we have Abraham to our father. For I say unto you that God is able of these stones to raise up children unto Abraham." And he says that's meaningless. Your descent from Abraham is meaningless. You've got to be saved. You got to believe on Christ, and that's the whole message of the New Testament. The people that are being negative toward the gospel are the Jews. They're being rebuked. It's just like, how can you not see it? And it's like you said, the true Israel in the New Testament is God's people, which is Christians. We're the new Israel. We have replaced the Jews. In the Old Testament, the nation of Israel were God's chosen people. They rejected Jesus. They rejected the Messiah. And Jesus said to them, the kingdom of God shall be taken from you and given to a nation bringing forth the fruits thereof.
It's not about a little. I know I was muted. I know. Rookie. Anyway, Israel being the body of Christ followers, not of some little despotic country in the middle of a sandbox. That's not how this fucking shit is. Yeah, he is always regarding that issue. You're right, Jeff. Absolutely, 100%. And but we were talking, this is Veterans Day. Now, this is interesting. Why do we have Veterans Day? It was actually prior to Veterans Day, it was known as Armistice Day, because there was a war that was so great and terrible. It was called the Great War. It was huge, involved multitudes of nations, and a lot of ammunition, a lot of bombs, a lot of dead people. Gas warfare was introduced. Aerial combat was introduced. It was supposedly the war to end all wars. And when the armistice came about as a result of the bankers pulling the rug out from under Germany, who was winning at the time, they decided they had to pick a date, pick a time. And this is really interesting, the time and date that they did this. The armistice was signed, and the cessation of fighting was at 11 a.m. on the 11th day of the 11th month, 1918. Now, if you didn't pay much attention to the thumbnail of tonight's show this evening, let me go ahead and bring this up real quick. This is a picture of Archduke Ferdinand's automobile that he was riding in when he was assassinated. Now, that whole story is a joke anyways. I mean, you start delving into that and it's like, what? But just to show you how orchestrated things are. The armistice Now, it was the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand is what supposedly set off the war, right? The Austro-Hungarian Empire and the Serbs, and it's a whole mess. Nobody can really pinpoint one real reason why World War I actually happened. You can watch a documentary here and it'll give you one reason. Here's another reason. But all of them seem to have stemmed around the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand. So this is the car he was riding in when he was assassinated, the event that set off the Great War. And take a look at his license plate. The armistice was signed on 11/11/1918, and that just happens to be A111118. The very date that the war would end is the license plate number of the guy whose assassination supposedly set it off. Now tell me this shit's not orchestrated. Come on, go ahead, I dare you. What's happening, Lowry?
Hey, I thought this would be a good one to pop in on tonight because the town that I was born in, which was Emporia, Kansas, is the city that started Veterans Day.
Okay.
Now, the Lowry Funston Post, all of my granddads and uncles all served in the Navy in World War II, and equally agreed not to talk about the war after they got back. They would hang out at the VFW there in Emporia, and that's kind of there was a lot. Lee Emery, that actor, he was in the Kubrick film, something about it was about Vietnam. He's from that area, so there's a lot of really famous actors that portray military people because the military is very strong in Kansas. They got that giant base at Fort Hays and everything else. So I was born in the town that made Veterans Day, and
what's the Army base there? Is what, Fort Riley, isn't it?
Fort Riley, yeah, Fort Riley. And the stealth, I guess the stealth fighters are based out of either Fort Riley or there's a base in Missouri just across the state line to the east. So, a lot of the military blood was farmed out of the Midwest. So there was a lot of people out there that served. VFWs are pretty regular through the Midwest. And they run up the East Coast too. But I used to go as a kid to the VFW with my granddad, and they would tell stories. I was too young to understand them. But my grandpa Ob, who's of the Lowry Funston Post there in Emporia, he had a very stern thing. He would not talk about the war. He was very clear about that, and the whole family knew it. And I think because he knew that it was fraud. He's also the same guy that told me that I was 7 years old. He said that they didn't go to the moon. He was a tail gunner on a in the South Pacific, and he said none of our targeting didn't work there. And he said it was flat. I thought he was a kook at the time. And this whole thing, I come from that sort of they were in the Navy, so it was a Navy family, and everybody served at that point in time. Going to the VFW, hearing stories. I wish I could go back there, knowing what I know now, to hear those stories and actually be able to put them all together, because I was in the VFW with them, hearing the things. So anyway, I thought that was interesting, to let you know that I am from the town that Veterans Day is started from, I guess.
I met a World War I veteran. I used to play checkers with him.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was in elementary school, I think 5th or 6th grade, there was a group of us kids that we would go I think it was Wednesday. And we would go every Wednesday to the nursing home and hang out with the old people, and entertain them and, play games with them and shit. Because a lot of them don't have anybody come to see them or anything else like that. And there was this old guy. He was a World War I veteran. And he didn't talk about the war a whole lot at all. But he had a real raspy voice. And he told me that the reason he had that was from mustard gas. He'd got a little whiff of mustard gas when he was in the trenches in World War I, and it fucked up his throat for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really crazy. And you think about that. Here it is. It ended. It's over 100 years ago. It's hard to believe that the Great War, the war to end all wars, ended over 100 years ago in 1918. But did it really end?
Oh, it never ended. And what's it was General Patton that famous quote, I'm sure you've said it on here many times. He was like, we were fighting the wrong people.
Fight the wrong sons of
Because
bitches.
he went through, he was part of World War One. I don't know his exact military history, but he was a great general in World War II.
Well, he comes from a big military family.
Mhm.
You know, his grandfather was General George C. Patton of the Confederate States Army.
Okay.
He went to Virginia Military Institute, as did his father, as did his grandfather.
What's the timeline on that? So, like the massacre of the Russian Christians, where did that sit in the World War One timeline? Because
1918. That was the 1918-1919. See, that was really crazy. That was one of the ploys by the bankers to fuck the whole thing up in World War One.
Mhm.
Okay, was they sent Trotsky and these folks over from Brooklyn, New York, to foment unrest in Russia because the men were off fighting in World War One. The military was embroiled in World War One. Okay, so it was easy for them to foment and start this communist revolution. And I'm sure you've heard of Red October.
Yep.
Okay, that was just a year later. There's a book I had was about the Escadrille de Lafayette, which was kind of like a foreign legion of mercenaries that flew aircraft for the French in World War One. And I remember in the book there was a Russian that was on this in the squadron, and he was packing up his shit, and they were like, "Where are you going?" He says, "I have to go back home. There's unrest back in the homeland." He said, "I have to go home," and that was the start of the Soviet Revolution. Is where he went. So, and the other big that the rug pull was bringing America into the war. The bankers totally orchestrated that and bringing the United States in and crushing the stalemate. Well, the Germans were actually winning.
So there's two different words. I have a Serbian, or he's of Serbian descent, as a buddy of mine over in Durham. He is from the general area. They had a different word for what happened to at least the Eastern European Christians, Russians, Serbians, etc. But I understand it as is it Ramador? This is the name. Holodomor. Okay, they had a different name for it, and I hope the chat can figure it out. But they called it something different in Serbia, but it was the same problem. There was a real Holocaust with Christians, which is interesting because World War One, it just got buried over the course of the narrative, as even up through, me going through the indoctrination program and everything else. World War One was just like this. It's just like a blip on the memory. And then World War II is this giant narrative scape that has movies after it and all these things. There's been some movies about World War I and that sort of thing, but nobody wants to talk about it.
No,
which is curious to me because I'm like, why did that? What was that thing?
You can't really pinpoint what was the actual cause.
Mhm.
What was it about? Nobody can really pinpoint it. Each historians have different viewpoints on it and everything. And like you say, it's a mystery. And I wonder if it hasn't got something to do with this reset of our civilization, like a final push toward it.
As if someone had, some advanced knowledge. Somebody had to have been in front of the game, coming out of the 1800s and into the 1900s, and something had to happen, and it had to happen immediately so they could get a narrative moving forward, a historical narrative moving forward, because that's the whole thing, right? It's like, if you can get the past, you've got them moving forward. And World War One has always been interesting to me. In Kansas City, there's a World War One memorial, which looks old world to me because it's right next to the Union Station. Every single town has a Union Station, and it looks different than the rest of the buildings around it or whatever. And I'm like, nobody ever talks about World War One. We have this giant, it's the tallest thing made of cement in Kansas City that nobody ever talks about. People go on top of it to watch rallies or concerts. They don't really talk about World War One. And I think there's something in that to look into. Understanding World War II comes from World War One, and that's the rabbit hole I'd like to find out. I'd like to find out more. I watched that 12-hour episode that you sent to me. That was they were talking about that. Say it again. Holodomor.
Holodomor, yeah.
Holodomor. It's hard to say, but like the reason you haven't heard that word that much is because it's fucked up. I mean, it's seriously fucked up what happened in World War One.
Yes,
and it's nasty.
Yeah,
and nobody wants to talk about it.
Europa, the last battle.
That's it. That's the one.
The name of that. You can find it over on Odyssey. I think it's on BitChute. You're not going to find it on YouTube. You might be able to find it over on Rumble, but I doubt it. And it really goes into what really took place.
Okay. Yeah, and I was talking to, again, my Serbian, he's of Serbian descent. I was like, did you guys remember, he was talking to his mother, who's in her 80s, and then she knew her mother. And I was like, what happened over there? And they said, yeah, they killed a bunch of Christians in Serbia. And we don't know what the hell that was stemming from. And I don't think she put the Holodomor together with what happened with her. She had a different name for it. But it was the same situation happening, basically extinguishing populations and then burying it and then creating a new war just to make sure they could get out of the way of the history that they just, basically have to sweep under the rug to divert everybody's attention to this, world war, which they say has to happen in 3 theaters in order for it to be a world war. It's
funny that they call it a theater. Isn't that funny?
It is. Theater? It's because the language is curious on that one. It is. But I hadn't spent, until that I watched that Europa thing, I hadn't spent any time looking at World War One. I was a World War II film junkie because I just thought it was fascinating that they have all this footage of this giant event that happened. And World War One is just like, it's like a fart in the wind. It's like nobody talks about it. And it begs the question, maybe we got to look at it a little bit closer.
I watched a 2.5 hour thing here about a week ago. And it was talking about, it was World War One start to finish. Man, let me tell you what, that's some confusing shit, man. It really is, especially since it involves countries that don't even exist anymore, and that kind of thing. And you don't really think about the other. We only think about like the Germans and the British, or the Germans and the French. You're not taking into account the shit that was going on in North Africa, all over the place, around Greece. This truly was everywhere. Yeah. It truly was everywhere. And like you said, they don't talk about it a whole lot. And like you said, there's not very many movies about it either. I think there's one that just came out a couple of years ago called
1918, I think it was called 1917, one of those. Yeah.
What's now the All Quiet on the Western Front was actually an anti-war film.
I read the book, and it's absolutely astonishingly beautiful. It's so completely I'm just saying they were layering it down. Like the author was literally saying, this is just how it went down. We don't have any side. I don't know why we're shooting people. I don't know what's going on. And it was just this really humane look at from the Germanic point of World War One, and really like the daily things and the irony of like right at the armistice. I think it was at the armistice that the lead character is killed, and it's just like
killed like right on the armistice.
Yeah, like a minute after. You're just like, oh my God, this is a tragedy. But like, if you do look at that book, I mean, the movie is pretty good. I like the production of the movie. I thought it was well done.
Which one?
For all is calm on the Western Front. What's it called again?
Which one though? There's the
newest Netflix one.
There's a new one, because the only newest one I know of has got Richard Thomas. John Boy.
Okay, that's an older one.
He plays Paul Bauer.
Okay,
but it was Louis Ayres played in the original back in, I think, the 30s is when it came out. And he originally did, but the one I like the one with Richard Thomas. Ernest Borgnine is the old sergeant.
Yeah,
that's a good one. It follows the old one, the original, pretty closely. Now, I've not seen the newest one. Is there another one? Let me take a look here.
There was a new one that was released, and it went out on Netflix, I want to say 2 or 3 years ago. It was really well done. I recommend reading the book because
I did see that, and I hated it because it didn't follow the plot right.
Because they changed out timelines a little bit. The ultimate notion of it, I felt pretty good about. I was like, I think they were trying to do this. Well, of course, it's Netflix, so it's a propaganda organization. They're going to put their spin on it no matter what. Read the book. It gives you a very human.
I did see it. I was like, I'm not liking this.
Yeah, they spent too much time focusing on how much time they spent at the latrine as opposed to. I know there was some of that. Read the book. Definitely read the book. All is quiet on the Western Front. Do I have the words correctly on that? It's a really good, humane look at how the Germans saw World War One and what their mindset was, and then. A good Orwell one to revisit is the one where he went to Spain. Is it Down and Out? Or like when he went over there during the war, and the Spanish women, you cannot wake up a Spanish woman while she's sleeping. And they also, because of that, because they're so angry when you wake them up, that's where the Spanish would hide all their guns. There's so many side stories from that period between World War I and World War II, where you can glean some humanity in it and how they were seeing it versus how we were seeing it. Of course, we were under, I wasn't even alive at this time, but my parents and grandparents were under the propaganda of it's USA, Axis powers, we win. And you have this whole other body of people who are a lot like us and probably feel the same way about war that we do. You don't ever hear the stories. You don't ever hear what happened. You only hear the people that are releasing the information at the top. And you have these stories that are just coming apart. Yeah.
Here you go. Hey, everybody, there is a link to the movie I was just talking about with Ernest Borgnine and Richard Thomas. What year was that? Let's see. Is it going to tell me? Richard Thomas, Ernest Borgnine, Donald Pleasance. That's right. He plays the teacher. It doesn't tell me what year that came out on this. Let me look over here. 1979.
Okay, that's probably it's probably a better film to watch. I haven't seen that one. Read the book, watched the new one. But I've also toured a lot of music over in Germany, and I've been first hand to more towns than some Germans have in their own country, and they're lovely, lovely, lovely people. Yeah. And that was not the story that you were getting when I was coming up in high school and the Nazis, there was, and you go and you see these different countries and you realize they are a lot like us. They didn't want any of that shit. But you realize there's some sort of penetrating propaganda power that is making enemies to you in other countries. In various ways to boil it up. And it's a formula to boil everybody up into hatred, which is like classic divide and conquer. And then you go to that country and you're like, these people are lovely. Yeah. It's like, what are you talking about?
The West German people, the younger people were kind of against the U.S. military being there. They saw it as an occupation, and it really was. Okay. And they would put graffiti from time to time. And one day there was graffiti written on a wall across the street from our caserne. And boy, they really handed it to us, I'll tell you. They said, "Dear Americans, we love you as men, but we hate you as soldiers. Please go home." And I was like, oh boy, that was harsh. I mean, yeah. Just nicely say, hey, look, it's not you, it's what you represent. Can you kind of go home? Yeah. I thought that was kind of
leave us, please.
You almost want to go, all right, I'm out. You're right, brother. I'm out of here, But they were really nice. I remember one time I forget what we were doing. We were setting off firecrackers in the park. It was late at night and the Polizei came. And so I scattered, man. I rolled. And I come to this little wall. It was about waist high. And I jumped over it and hid on the other side. Well, next thing I knew, I was in a cemetery, man.
Yeah.
I didn't even know this cemetery was there. But then I looked and it was a bunch of German soldiers. They had the little helmet and the crossed rifles and shit. And I was like, wow. But then I looked at the dates and the dates were from the 1890s. And I was like, what? And I forgot all about the Franco-Prussian Wars, man.
Yeah.
I was like,
that's not a regular occurrence in American education. These little sub wars, these little other things that happened, and that's where you get a lot of frustrated people, especially people trying to look for real true history, and they wonder where this story that must have been huge that just gets disappeared. And I guess that's the nature of, I always struggle saying this word, obfuscation. Basically you bury a story over time and then it never happened. And I think World War I was so big that they buried it as much as they could, but it still hung in there. And now we're digging back. And I'm telling you, that Europa thing like really blew my
That'll
mind.
open your eyes. I'm telling you right now, it's going to open up your fucking eyes, man.
And it's not an easy thing to listen to, but it's firsthand accounts of like an actual Holocaust, an actual one.
Well, when you look at things, if you look at the way things are, if you don't look at the whole story, if you're only going to take the whitewashed version that's given to you by the victors, okay, you're not getting the whole story. It's sort of like hearing about a domestic situation where a wife and a husband have been fighting, right? And you only get one side of the story. You go over and talk to the man, and it's like, what happened? Well, there I was. You're going to get the same fucking story that they weren't doing a goddamn thing and this, that, and the other. So then you just got to look at both stories and take the reality of what's there. And that's what happens when you watch like Europa compared to what we've got going on. There's a reason there are so many World War II movies. There's more of those than there are anything about Vietnam, about Korea, about the Gulf, about any other conflict that the United States has been in, including the Civil War. There's more about World War II. They have to sell it as the good, noble, and just war because it was anything but. We were on the wrong fucking side. Grandpa storming Normandy's beach was, we look at it like he was fighting the evil Nazis. No, what he was doing was helping Stalin spread communism through Europe. That's what he was doing. He did not know that. But that's exactly what he was doing. That's why Patton said we've been fighting the wrong sons of bitches.
Yeah, and that was a tough one. That was a tough one for me to reconcile. And I think my granddad, the reason he didn't want to talk about it because he knew how twisted up it was.
They killed Patton for that. They killed him for that.
Yeah. Yeah, he was talking. He was raising his voice a little bit too high.
Well, he'd been doing that throughout the war. He was like, look, the man was a soldier, not a politician. And that was his problem especially at that time. That was totally all political. That's why Ike was, think about that. For the first time ever in history, the general from one nation was given command of several nations' armies. That was like a blueprint for the UN. It was exactly what that was for. And of course, it brought us into NATO.
And if you project out long enough over a course of years and you have enough power to actually make a script that long, you have to literally have a history that's 100 years to get you. Like I always talk about the long script. And I personally think it's winding up. I think it's rattled its tail enough and it's falling apart because, even if we're, whitewashed on the internet talking about these subjects, it's still going out. People are hearing it. And you need that history because you need to know, like, where'd we come from? Like, who are we? When are we? Where are we at? And that gives us a really good, strong position of moving forward and making proper decisions for our life moving forward. These are the basic boiling down points. And those wars are basically took up most of people's minds for the last 100 years. War. When have we not been at war in the last 100 years? Right. I mean, is there like 2 weeks somewhere?
Oh shit. I got the actual statistics on that.
I can't remember, but I think it's like 2 weeks or something.
No, I got it right here. Hold on a second. Let me go to my favorites. And I just put it in there. Well, where the hell are all my favorites? There we go. Oh, let's see. There's a YouTube. Wait. Oh, wait, I'm way down at the bottom. Where the hell is all my stuff at, man?
John in chat says 17 years out of 250 we've not been at war.
Yeah. Because I just put that.
An accumulation of months here and there. We're like, oh, well, look, we're at peace. It's never.
It's
always at war.
I got Yeah, I don't know where I put it right off the bat. It's in here somewhere. But what I did find was, hopefully, if it's still there. It is. Ah, ha 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 ha. So for anyone that wants to see the movie that Lowry and I were just speaking of, I'm going to put that link down here.
It is one of the premier documentaries about war that I've seen in a long time. Like what you can actually work through, you can check against other sources, there's firsthand accounts. It's really worth looking at. It's a burn. It's I don't know if it's a 6 hour, 7 hour burn. It's a lot to take in, but it is like, whoa.
Well, it's 12 hours. It's 12 hours and 22 minutes.
Yeah. So take it in chunks, but
yeah, you got to, well, it's kind of broke up into sections, so you can take it through one chapter and then take a rest, but it's hard to stop watching.
It's hard to stop watching, and it's also a tough watch. In other words, you want to know what an actual Holocaust actually is. They will describe it to you in the firsthand account. It's gnarly, dude. And it's almost like one side took that experience that other people had, used it, and gave it to themselves and made their own story on it. And I'll leave that at that point. You guys have been pretty good about that stuff, but they stole an idea, used it, projected it back onto us about the wrong thing that happened and what actually happened. You know.
Yeah, man. They have. Listen, here's how long you've been fighting this shit. Listen to this.
How long have we been fighting Zionism? Let's go back and start in 1903. Russia and the publication of the Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zionism, which exposed Zionists taking control over the media, left-wing and right-wing newspapers, Zionist control over their education system, and Zionist control over politicians through bribery and influence. Some say it's real, some say it's a fabrication just to expose Zionists. Either way, 120 years later, they still follow the same playbook. And sadly for the Russians, they failed to fight them off. The J supremacists did take over and created and controlled the Soviet government, and then create the Gulag concentration camps, which would go on to martyr between 40 to 60 million Christians. Now on to 1920s America. Henry Ford published The International Jew, which he had his Ford car dealerships give out and distribute to new Ford customers. A lot of people don't know that.
The automobile pioneer Henry Ford blamed Jews for everything in a series of 91 weekly articles called The International Jew. He promoted the Protocols of the Elders of Zion.
Then the most famous anti-Zionist book of them all, 1920s, 1930s Germany, Mein Kampf, which translates to My Struggle. It became the #1 best-selling book, and which laid out all the past crimes and current manipulations of J supremacy in Germany, Europe, and all around the world. So this great awakening that everyone's having now, it's actually not the first time it's happened. There was a great awakening before 100 years ago too. But hopefully this time we can win and not have this awareness suppressed and have that evil empire continue to rule over a significant portion of the world for their own self-interest and benefit at the expense of everybody else.
Yeah, that's the crux of the argument. You know, it's when I think about this, I always think about it in terms of the parasite. Like I just say, if you're at high levels of banking, you're basically not giving back to the village. You're using usury. And hey, I'm talking live. Sorry. So, but you're basically, you've got an institution that's doesn't do anything to give back to the village. They charge just a little bit or a lot bit for just holding on to the exchange token, where we get up to having food and or buying stuff and or goods and services. The little thing. And they usurp that little moment, and they realize, because they're really good at money, and this is let's use the word correctly. It's Zionists, old Khazars. I think a lot of Jews don't even know this bit of history about whether or not they're even Jews or not. They are parasites, and that's what high-level banking is. They don't give anything back to the rest of us. They steal off little paint. You know this thing. Why am I even ranting on here? It's not.
They brought us this kind of thing now. Now, what's my message to this woman?
Can someone tell me what MAGA men find attractive so that I can wear the complete opposite? Thanks.
You're killing it. You're killing it. Okay. She's already killing it. Mission accomplished, bitch. You know, MAGA anybody, you know.
Yeah. I mean,
the only way she's getting laid is if there's alcohol involved.
Yeah, but I wanted to just pop in a little bit here. Nico's out there; she's barking on the phone, so I don't want to be roughing up your broadcast. But like, again, veterans, we appreciate. Coming from a veteran family, appreciate what you did, and I know it's a gnarly system.
We didn't do shit. We didn't do anything for you. None of us.
Okay.
None of us as veterans. I hear people say it all the time. Thank you for your service, dude. We didn't do anything for you.
Okay.
We really didn't. All we did was act as force for basically a mafia, an international mafia called the United States Inc. And we strong arm and muscle other countries to bend to our will and American hegemony. And on a big level, I'm ashamed of it. I'm ashamed that I was duped into being a pawn for that machine.
Well, I guess what I mean is thank you for, I guess, getting out of it with your life. And you went in with good heart and good intention, and you got out, and thank you for getting out. Is that the more appropriate response?
I would say, there was a young guy came on here last night. I believe it was last night.
I caught it when he was asking about whether I should enlist. I caught that. Yeah.
No.
It's a different guy.
No, I'm saying that's what that was my thing. No, don't join. Don't do it. It's not worth it at all. There's a reason that the self-deletion rate amongst veterans is so high. There's a reason for that. And it all has the same common denominator. It's because you put these people and made them participate in literal fucking hell. You expose them to atrocities that are unimaginable. And then they have to come back here and play Brady Bunch. Get the fuck out. Once you've experienced that, you can't go back to Brady Bunch, man.
Yeah, there's no going back. It's just weird. It's just weird, to try to come back into like the nuclear family per se. A lot of people do manage it, but I can't imagine that it's easy. Coming back out of a war environment and then just going back to peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and taking the kids to school and whatnot. I mean, I give a lot of people really, a lot of credit for like guys that come back and actually can manage that for the rest of their life. But once you see gnarly ass stuff in a different country and then come back and try to sink back into this, it's just no.
Did you ever see the movie Hacksaw Ridge?
Yes.
Okay, so that guy's right from Lynchburg, just south of here. Private Doss. He was right here from just south of us in Lynchburg, about an hour and a half, 2 hours south. And the part that was played his father in that movie, that ought to show you something right there, because as he was the dad just wanted to forget about war. And to see his son wanting to put on a uniform was just like too much for him. He's like, because he knows what it's about. And the starry-eyed young boy is looking at it as valor and helping his country and patriotism. But the combat veteran dad is sitting there going, oh my God, what the fuck? No, that ain't what it's about. He said, but I'll support you. But, dude, and you could tell when he showed up there to talk to that board wearing his World War I uniform. And, he even said, we've seen horrors that no one can even imagine. But, and
I think, and to bring land this plane with me, I like my grandparents, granddad, uncles, everybody else that served, the reason they didn't bring war back here because they didn't want, they were done with it. They were just like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever done. I don't want to talk about it. We have the VFW to go down here to hang out with. We can talk with our old buds and talk about what happened over here. And then they didn't want that stuff. And I thank them for that, actually. I used to want to know what happened. And now I'm kind of glad they spared me of it, for a lot of it, and I think it was probably for the better. I was just like, I get it. You don't want to talk about it, and
We
don't
got
talk
so
about
many.
it.
You hear so many people out there fighting for our freedom. How? How is dropping tons of bombs on a bunch of brown people in some Middle Eastern country securing or fighting for your freedom at all?
They're not.
It's not.
It's a workforce. It's a
It'd be
workforce
different
for
if
a
I was
drug
free.
dealer.
It'd be different if I was free, but I'm not free. I got to have a special little fucking card to be able to travel. I have to have a special piece of paper to go from one imaginary fucking borderline to another borderline. I have to have permission of my government overseers to allow
Yeah.
me to go. I mean, you're not fucking free.
Yeah.
It's
And
bullshit
I would
about
say,
you live in the land of the free and the home of the slave, the
Right.
United States of America.
yeah. And what you, if you look back, that what is it? The museum finds in Iraq were important to the warmongers, and the poppy plants in Afghanistan, they used to call it, was it George Poppy Bush?
Mhm.
They're just drug dealers.
Yeah.
And they use people to go workforce so they could get their whatever it is that's in there. You got archaeological finds in Iraq that was really important to people. For whatever reason, they had to get into that museum right after 1990 or 91. And Andrew, what's up, buddy? Snowman. I'm gonna circle out here because Nico's she's screaming on the phone downstairs, but I'm gonna keep listening.
All right, brother.
You guys keep it going. Cheers.
Coming up. Yeah, I had somebody come out and they said, well, they called him Poppy. And I says, that wasn't a paternal nickname, man. You called him Poppy because he was an opium dealer. Let's get real. George Bush was a fucking drug dealer. Boom. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, I never got deployed to Afghanistan, but I did have some friends that were out there on different deployments. And they said, yeah, one of the things they would have to do is set up these barricades around poppy fields. And actually use the military for basically policing and protecting them.
Yeah.
I don't know why. And it was never needed before, but that's what we were doing.
Well,
that's what they were doing.
That's what pays for the wars. That's what ends up paying for the wars. Go all the way back to England, back during Victoria. The opium wars with China. Come on, man. It's shit. They've been using that to control the people for a long time. And then they got the bright idea to synthesize it, put it in pills so they can give it to every fucking buddy.
And then also when I went to Iraq in 2002, 2001, 2002. And I was out there 3 times. And once in a while, we would have to go out to these certain areas where there's these oil fields. And what we'd have to do is literally just fucking sit there and just fucking wait in case anything happened. Nothing ever did. But we were stealing that fucking oil, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know how much oil costs? Gasoline, diesel fuel cost out there?
No, what?
7 cents per gallon.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And I know that because I was issued, for my fire team. And before I got promoted to squad leader. And we had, at one point, I had to go fill up the tank. And, you have to go over. The Army was doing all that stuff. And all they do is just be like, yeah, show us your ID. They take your name down, and then you sign there, and that's it. And they fill it up for you. And I saw the bill on it. And I was like, 7 cents a fucking gallon? But meanwhile, in the U.S., I think it was like $6.50 a gallon or something like that.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts. And when people say, yeah, thank you for your service, again, as I had said previously the other day, that if someone has done something horrific in the military, which I know has happened, because my girlfriend's, her ex, he said, yeah, he fully admitted he was shooting children on purpose. And I was like, that's like court-martial fucking life in prison kind of stuff. But
not if you were ordered to. Not if you were ordered to.
That's an unlawful order. They cannot force you to do that.
There's no such thing as rules to war, man.
Yes, what are you talking about? Yes, there is.
There's no such thing as rules in war. When you're in a street fight outside, someone's trying to take your life. There's no fucking rules, man.
That's different.
Oh.
Did you do
You
3
can literally, Snowman, you can literally be brought up in front of an international court for war crimes if you violate.
Name one man that's done that from the Korean War or the Gulf War or Vietnam or any of this
Corporal
shit. Name
Kelly.
one person.
Corporal Kelly, My Lai massacre.
Does that have to
There's
do with
one.
the Korean War or Vietnam?
Vietnam.
Yeah.
There were several people that I heard about that, yeah, they would get in serious trouble because they were doing things that were unethical and also considered against the Geneva Conventions.
But you understand that not following an order is paramount to treason. So if I'm your commanding officer and I tell you to
No.
eliminate everybody in that fucking village,
No.
what,
No.
buddy? This is look at World War II. And, like, I'm not talking about Stalin. I'm talking on the Allied side. There was a lot of insubordination, and guys with shell shock were getting fucking shot too. You know what I mean?
You are
there's
not
a lot.
obligated to follow an immoral order.
Yeah, if they say
Right,
go
but if you
slaughter all
refuse
those
to fight,
people.
if you refuse
No,
to
it
fight,
doesn't say that's not refusing to fight. But if they tell you to massacre a bunch of fucking civilians or torch their houses and shit while they're still inside of it, that's a war crime.
A lot of people in Vietnam had that happen to them.
Yep.
you understand through the whatever that experiment is that if you're given an order by a guy in a lab coat or
I
superior
understand what the
It's the milligram
psychology
experiment.
behind it is, and that is why those rules are there. Okay, if
I'm not-
you commit an atrocity against the civilian population or against people who have surrendered and are non-combatants now, and you just arbitrarily execute them or torture them or any of that, you are guilty of international war crimes and can be prosecuted by the international courts. It will happen.
And
I'm just saying, compared to the amount of atrocity versus the court cases, it's definitely a tip scale in the sense that
every
a lot
single
of the shit
deployment that I came back from, before we even left Iraq, you know, the theater of war. Yeah, it's a bunch of weird terminology,
Yeah,
but
theater.
yeah, we would have 2 different federal agencies come by. First of all, one of them was U.S. Customs, and they would search our bags, make sure we weren't bringing back stuff that we weren't supposed to have, bring back.
Right.
And then the other one was the FBI. They would come by and they would take large groups of us at a time, and they'd say, "All right," they weren't asking them for a show of hands. They said, "If you fired your weapon in over here without being in like the gun range, and you shot and killed someone, well, when you come back and if someone asks you, did you shoot to kill them? The answer," they said, "is no. You shot to stop them."
Right.
There was no intention of actually killing them. Now, there are situations where, yes, fighter pilots and stuff like that, yeah, they're dropping bombs and fucking shooting missiles into, yeah, they're like, yeah, I'm just blowing the shit out of them. And that was the order they were given because there was military intelligence that was telling them, yes, that's where the combatants are and stuff like that. And
Right.
Before people ask, yes, I have shot people. Not going to say I'm proud of it, but I got shot at first. Those are called rules of engagement. Then you're allowed to defend. But if you will go on the offensive first, you better have a lot of intel basically being given to you that's saying, yes, this is the reason why we're doing it. And then from there, yeah, then you can do it. Like Special Forces, Navy SEALs, Delta Force. They're like, here's a building. It's got a bunch of terrorists in it. We need you to extract like the main terrorist guy. If anyone is in there and they have a gun in their hand, then you can shoot first. That's different from what I was doing. Now, there are some good things the military does. Humanitarian projects. I was on one of those called Cobra Gold, where we help rebuild war-torn areas in wars that we weren't even in. And then, like, if the United States would have gotten involved in World War II on defense of Germany, I'd have been like, fuck yes, we're going to go in there. But we shouldn't have gone into World War II at all.
No.
That's the
That was orchestrated. That was orchestrated. Uber Zionist Churchill had been begging Roosevelt, and the consensus amongst the people here at home were like, nope, once in a century's enough, man. We already suffered devastating losses in that last World War. We're not getting in on this again. It's not our business, right? So then they orchestrated it so that we could get into the war by having the people become enraged. All through 1940 and 1941, we were playing I'm Not Touching You with the Japanese. We started placing unreasonable embargoes and shit on them and everything. And this is also seen as a prelude to an attack, is when when a country does that, starts putting embargoes and sanctions and shit like that on you. So the next step that they did was they moved the entire 7th Fleet from San Diego out to the middle of the fucking Pacific Ocean to Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, at the protest of the admiral in charge of the fleet, because he said, we can't defend the West Coast from there. And we're vulnerable from 360 degrees. Well, Roosevelt fixed that problem. He just fired that admiral and put Halsey in charge.
Yeah, and that's
so the Japanese saw that as a prelude to an attack, and preemptively, after warning us several times that they were going to do a preemptive strike on that fleet, because they figured they were gearing up to attack Japan.
And I do think what happened, as far as I can recall, that China and Japan, they were in a small little battle, a little war between each other at the time. And the United States was giving Japan a shitload of support, like beans, bullets, and band-aids and money.
Well,
and
we were helping the
States
Chinese.
Like, fuck that, we're not giving you anything else. And Japan's like, really? Fuck you then.
Yeah. Well, and we were helping the Chinese too against the Japanese. I don't know if you're old enough to remember a TV show that was on called Baba Black Sheep back in the 70s.
No.
Okay, what it was about, there was a Black Sheep squadron of Corsairs and F-6F Hellcats, or was that the Wildcat? Either way, Grumman, that was in the Pacific, and they were called the Black Sheep Squadron. They were previously mercenaries that were flying for China, shooting down Zeros.
Wow.
And the Chinese government was paying them $1,000. Now think about that. In 1939, $1,000 for every Zero that they shot down. Now, at that time, they were mostly flying P-40 Warhawks, which was really, the Zero outmatched the P-40 Warhawk, something fierce, and capacity of ammunition, maneuverability, everything. And the United States wasn't even in the war yet. But these guys, Pappy Boyington and his crew, they were actually all mercenaries fighting for the Chinese against the Japanese a couple of years before we were even over there. We had Marines manning outposts and shit and doing communications for the Chinese while they were at war with the Japanese. So there was a whole bunch of shit going on that people aren't really aware of that was behind the scenes. It's easy to just say, they just unprovoked and unwarrantedly attacked Pearl Harbor. No, that's not really what happened. But given that narrative, it enraged the people of the United States. We have to do something about these Japanese and their sneak attack. And then by default, that put us at war with Germany and fulfilled Churchill's request for military support. England was getting their ass kicked.
Yeah, and that's something, again, that people are not necessarily aware of, that if there's a whole bunch of people that are just going, hoorah, hoorah, let's go attack that country, just like what happened in 9/11, if that didn't happen, if there was never some sort of, event, then the American people would just be like, fuck you. And they say, okay, we're starting a draft. And then you have this thing called the conscientious objector. Like, I'm not fighting this. And then at that point, they can't make you go into combat, as far as I know. Something like that. Because one of the guys I was with, he was in my battalion, hardcore Christian, carried a Bible around with him all the time. And he said, I don't believe in war. And I don't want to be in combat. So they said, you have to have a rifle, though. And he's like, fine, I'm never going to shoot it. And he couldn't get in trouble for that. And I mean, I don't know what happened to him later on. 'Cause, we get split up all the different places.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's there are good things the military does. But if someone like we supply a lot of humanitarian efforts all throughout the world. Like when Haiti had that big ass earthquake destroying. I mean, even though I don't fucking, we should have just fucking left that place. But now, Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, these areas where we're, Vietnam, not really so much, but yeah, we've been in wars in every single place the United States has been in a conflict. We have a foothold in that country now. Fact. We have a military base we have 7 or 8 military bases in Iraq currently. And we can still go to them, but we basically gave it over to them when we left. I was building those bases, setting up generators and doing the framing and stuff like that as well. Yeah, so we do some good stuff, but for the most part, I didn't join the military to go kill people. I joined for the adventure, free travel, education, training, and the benefits.
I had a shirt.
I like that picture.
that said, join the army, travel to strange, exotic lands, meet new and interesting people, and kill them.
Yep.
So this thing, it says, put it into perspective. There's only 17 calendar years in which the U.S. did not wage any wars. Pick any year since 1776, and there is about a 93% chance that America was involved in some war during that calendar year. No U.S. president truly qualifies as a peacetime president. Instead, all U.S. presidents can technically be considered war presidents. The U.S. has never gone a decade without a war. The only time the U.S. went 5 years without war, 1935 to 1940, was during the isolationist period of the Great Depression. And here is year by year the timeline of America's major wars. So 1776 up through 1783, we were in the Revolutionary War. We were also the Chickamauga Wars with the Indians, 1785. That was going on during the Revolution too. So then we have the Northwest Indian War. This is all the way up. So here in 1796 to 1797, we had no major wars. Then here we got something called the Quasi War, First Barbary War.
So what was that? Hold on. What was that span? What was the years there you were saying between 17 whatever?
Just 1 year.
So yeah, 1796 and 1797, no major wars.
That's only 1 year.
Yeah. So then we got 1807, 1808, and 1809, no wars. 1810, U.S. occupies Spanish-held West Florida. 1811, Tecumseh's War. 1812, the War of 1812, Tecumseh's War, Seminole Wars, U.S. occupies Spanish-held Amelia Island and other parts of East Florida. We go on through this, the Yellowstone, the Anti-Piracy War. That was, I guess, the Second Barbary War. Here in 1826, no major war there. They must have been fighting over a camper here in 1827, the Winnebago War. Here's another three years with no war, 1828 to 1830, 2 years anyway. No major wars. Then we got more Indian stuff going on. U.S. forces clash with Chinese. U.S. troops invade Africa coast in 1843.
Oh, that's a good one. That's interesting.
Yeah, I never knew about that.
I never heard about that either. That's interesting.
We go on through this, and there's like all this bullshit. Seminoles, the Texas Indian Wars, Southwest Indian Wars, Navajo Wars, California Indian Wars, were just fucking genocide and the shit because of manifest destiny. Because God said. Then, of course, 1861, we had the Texas Indian Wars, the American Civil War, Southwest Indian Wars, Navajo Wars, Apache Wars. Well, we just couldn't get along with the fucking Indians, right? Let's see. Is there any other period where there's no?
Well, the Indians couldn't get along with each other either. They were just fighting, very tribalistic.
Here's the U.S. invaded Mexico in 1880 through 1884. Invaded them again in 1887. This shit is just insane, man. Look at this. Philippine-American War. This is where the Colt 1911 ended up being developed for, because these guys were like on amphetamines and shit. And
I remember hearing that story.
They had a 38 caliber was the sidearm, and it wasn't enough to stop them because they'd have a bayonet coming at them, and you shoot them, and they still coming forward. So Samuel,
they were on. Also, what they would do. This is kind of fucking weird, actually very weird. They would take leather, soak it in water, and then they would wrap it around their fucking scrotum, causing extreme pain. And then they would take all these fucking hallucinogens and stuff, and like adrenaline-based hallucinogens. And shooting them a couple times with a little 38. Nah, that's not going to work. That's when the Colt 45 came around.
Yeah, the 45
God's
auto
caliber.
was the 45 auto. John Moses Browning. And now not everything John Browning made was a success. The 25 automatic was like a total failure. I have one, little hooker gun, and not very practical. It's a center fire, 25 caliber, not much more than a 22. But according to FBI statistics, in every instance where a 25 caliber was used for defense, the person shot died. So gives you a little bit about it, but look at here, even up into the early 1900s, before World War I or during World War I, 1914 we had banana wars. We invaded
What the fuck is a banana war?
You see, goes on. Here we go, 1935 to 1940. That was like the longest span of no war, and that was because of the Depression, the U.S. isolationism. Then 1941, we're in World War II. 46, we got the Cold War. We occupied the Philippines and South Korea. Aid Chinese Nationalist Party against the communists. That was Chiang Kai-shek against Mao. And we were supporting Chiang Kai-shek. And here we get into the Korean War. Vietnam War, all the way up to 1970. Huh?
You said Shanghai or Chink-ai?
Chiang Kai-shek. That's how his name was.
I was going to say Chink-ai would be kind of weird.
Chink-ai. I just now got that. Okay. I mean, here we are, first Gulf War, conflict in Iraq, U.S. invades Haiti. I mean, it's nonstop. Bombing of Iraq in 98, missile strikes against Afghanistan and the Sudan.
Black Hawk Down in Grenada.
We had the Black Hawk Down thing over in that was in
Somalia.
Mogadishu. But I mean, that's look, that's a lot of fucking war. If you've only got a total of 17 years of our entire existence, think about that. 17 years total since 1776. That's not all at one time. The longest span we saw was 1935 to 1940. And bam, here we are.
And one of the other things that is also true, very true, is I met a lot of special forces, and they would go off and do these little conflicts and stuff that were never declared a war. So I wouldn't be surprised if all of those 17 years actually had stuff going on that wasn't declared war, like by Congress.
I know. Well, we haven't declared war since 1941 on anybody.
Well, yeah, that's when Bush, he beat around the bush, essentially. It's kind of a play on words, but he was basically, it's the war on terror.
Right. But it was no country. See, that's the thing, wars on ideals. And, when someone else is in charge of the definition of that, like people that are sick and tired of the bullshit going on in this country, they say that they're, homegrown terrorists, or they're some other bullshit. It's because somebody else gets to define what the parameters are. It's like with hate speech. What the fuck violence? It's just basically there's no such thing. There's only speech that you hate. That's all. One of the biggest pushers is this little beanie wearing motherfucker. Listen to this shit he's saying about people. If you can't afford to live, here's what you got. Oh, that fucking Ben Shapiro. I can't stand this guy. Listen to it.
I don't see him much.
if you're a young person and you can't afford to live here, then maybe you should not live here. I mean, that is a real thing. I know that we've now grown up in a society that says that you deserve to live where you grew up, but the reality is that the history of America is almost literally the opposite of that. The history of America is you go to a place where there is opportunity. And if the opportunities are limited here and they're not changing, then you really should try to think about other places where you have better opportunities. If you're a young person and you can't.
That's where you ought to do there, Ben. Why don't you get your ass and go to Israel? Okay. You can go over there and eat little fucking fetuses with Netanyahu all day long.
He's a dual citizen.
Yeah, that should be abolished. That shit should be abolished 100%. And now we got that one little fat fucker, Randy Fine, going in there wearing his little beanie right into Congress.
Yeah,
it's like, what do you got that little filthy hat on for, you nasty motherfucker? You know?
Yeah, I do think our political system needs to be reformed in a drastic way. And here's what I would say. You have to be born here, no criminal record whatsoever, and your parents also had to be born here as well.
Yeah.
You had me at born here. Yeah, you had to be born here and did your fucking time, paid your dues. But as far as a criminal record, like, we talking about an Epstein record or fucking refusing to?
Well, see, there I would have to narrow it down to people that have committed actual crime. Okay. I don't give a shit if you went fast where you weren't supposed to. I don't give a shit if anything, unless there was a victim left. Okay. If there was a victim left in the wake of your actions, then that is a crime. If someone has suffered loss, injury, or harm as a result of your actions, that is a crime. All the rest of that shit's nothing more than bahui and statutes and nonsense, edicts written by fucking men who think they're cut from a finer cloth than you.
Yeah, it's not. I just want to skip back to. I just was looking at the date, and it's like, you know what? The military, right? It's kind of like a hammer, but it's not a hammer. It's a It's a fucking Swiss Army knife, right? You send these guys in, they can build a fucking bridge. You know, they can logistics wise bring you what your encampment needs to survive. They can actually do the duties of a lot of things. You know, like they're glorified snow removal guys, right?
Well,
Like
that's the story.
You know, they're an art.
That's the story. That's what they want. That's what they'd like to be. But I'm sure Andrew can attest to this, that I don't care what kind of plan they got. It always ends up being a clusterfuck and everybody has to improvise. Every
bureaucracy.
time. Every time.
It's the bureaucracy.
Yeah. Well, and you got a bunch of stupid motherfuckers that have been promoted to get them out of the way. That's what they do. They promote fucking idiots to get them out of the way, and then they end up making the decisions. It's really quite ludicrous.
Yeah,
it's like
inevitably.
It's like inevitably. Why do we have government? And they say it's because the common man is not wise enough to govern himself. Yet we choose a group of people from this group that can't govern themselves to govern everybody. That makes absolutely no fucking sense.
Yeah. And then less than 10% of the people actually voted for the particular person when it, you know, like, for example, you know, it's 50-50 split, red and blue. Well, if only half the population votes, like in Canada, like we notoriously have a pretty shitty vote count. And so what that means is less than 50% of the population decided red or blue, first of all. So that's only 50%. Then you go, well, they split 50-50. That means only 25% of the people voted for the guy that won. You know what I mean? So it's never been a democracy the way everyone envisions it.
Well, we're not supposed to be a democracy anyway.
Well, I mean, whatever. That's what they're spreading, democracy bombs everywhere.
What did we just look at last night in the book Word Magic? Or it might have been the night before. Democracy literally means, by definition, mob rules. And it does. Democracy is two wolves and a sheep deciding what's going to be for dinner. That's how that shit works. People that think, I love that. I'll be in a group of people and somebody thinks that democracy is a grand and noble thing. And I'll say, all right, let's put that to the test. I make a motion that this guy gives every one of us $20. All in favor, raise your hand. Of course, everybody except him is going to raise their hand, right? Say, well, you lost the vote. You got to give us all $20 now. How do you like your fucking democracy now? You see, that's how that shit works. We're not that.
He probably doesn't like it. No.
No. The only people that's going to like it is the people that are getting something from it. This is exactly what the welfare system does. This is exactly what these socialist programs that we have does. It's going to ensure the employment of those that are implementing these socialist entitlements.
Right. And again, Saul, even in that environment, right? Even in that environment, it's the stupid motherfuckers that are getting promoted. It's the smart ones that fall victim to the substances or fuck up or can't cope or whatever. Those are the ones that can see what's going on and get upset.
Look at this. Look at this is the leader of our FBI. This is him today at a press briefing. This is real short, but just watch this guy. Tell me he doesn't just make you feel like that guy's sketchy. Watch him. Cockeyed motherfucker.
As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my life and realize there's nothing left. Cause I've been blasting and laughing so long that even my mama thinks that my mind is gone.
He's like, like he's gonna get caught doing something or whatever.
Yeah, that dude is fucking creepy. Hey, in the side chat right there, it's a quick little brevity, and you'll know exactly what this is. You won't get a copyright strike for it, but
all right.
It has to do a little bit with America. Well,
America, actually, fuck yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Gonna save the motherfucking world. I ain't worried. The only thing that copyright like that'll do, sometimes they'll say it can't be viewed in some areas and I have to clip it out or whatever. But all it does is say, oh, your video can't be monetized. Well, I don't give a fuck. I'm not monetized anyway. The only thing I get is like subscriber support when somebody feels they're the good spirit and they send me 10 or 15 bucks on PayPal or whatever or on Cash App, that's all I get. So I don't care if they demonetize my video. So I'll go ahead and show shit like that. Now, what's really funny right now, Andrew, is this. I had no idea what this link was when I started singing that song. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding you, because that song was like rolling in my head. America, fuck yeah, gonna save the motherfucking world.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah, it's only
that's
a minute and a half.
very November 11th vibes for sure, right?
Like, well, it came out in 2004, and that's exactly why they put that movie out, is because they were just calling America the world police, which is essentially true. But yeah, it's a minute and a half long.
Harry, if for some reason your cover is blown and the terrorists take you prisoner, well, you'll probably want to take your own life. Here, you'd better have this. All right, team, that's it. We've got a job to do. Let's go police the world!
America, America, fuck yeah! Come out again to save the motherfucking day, yeah, America, fuck yeah! Freedom is the only way, yeah. Terrorists, your game is through, 'cause now you have to answer to America, fuck yeah! So lick my butt and suck on my balls, America, fuck yeah!
All right. Yeah, I think it's just hilarious because you think he was going to hand him like one of those little pills that looks like a side night pill or something. He gives him a fucking hammer.
It's a fucking taped up broke ass hammer too. At that, that's the worst part.
So anyway, yeah, just a little bit of brevity in regards to some of the more horrific things. But
I got that movie. I got to watch that again. That shit is funny as hell. Is it Durka?
Oh, when I was in Iraq, we were asking translators. They had to come with us in a lot of places. So at one point, I said, "Hey, man, does Durka mean anything in Farsi?" He's no. Durka, Muhammad Jihad.
No, that's what he would do. That whole thing. That movie's dirty as shit too, man.
Oh, they put that on. So the people that worked in the chow halls, or the dining facilities. I know that's what the Army and Air Force calls it, but
yeah,
they were all contractors, and they all were basically just coming in from other countries and Iraq, and they were the ones serving the food and stuff, and cleaning out the shitters and all that kind of stuff. But
were they from? Was it Aramark?
Well, because
I know they do a lot.
KBR was the main contractor out there. And there was a lot of them, but that was the main one. KBR.
I know Aramark used to do the park up here, the restaurants at the park, and they do the prisons and the jail and all these fucking places, man. They're big contractors for that shit.
Like a catering company? Like, am I tripping?
Yeah, they do. Well, like cleaning company, restaurant here, the whole 9 yards, man. They're just a big, huge fucking
part of or whatever, like the Amazon and the shit.
Oh, they suck.
So the other thing, the reason I was showing the Team America thing and also mentioning the chow hall dining facility, whatever you want to call it, is because all the workers there were not Americans at all. Only the supervisors were. And one day, someone decided to put that movie on the big screen TV, and where everyone gets to watch TV and shit while they put that movie on. You should have seen the confusion in all. We were looking around at all the workers and stuff, and they were like, "What the fuck is this?" They had never seen or heard of it before. So, anyways, I thought that was just like everybody, and there's like 200 people in there, and we're just like, "What the fuck? Who did this?"
I remember when during Reforger 85, I was in Gießen, and there was this huge mess tent set up, and I have to walk about a half a mile to get to it from where my radio site was at, and go to this big chow hall. And there was I was just radio support for this other unit, and I'd be sitting in this chow hall, big tent, and I'd hear, "Hey, good morning, Sergeant Major. Good morning, Sergeant Major." And I'm like looking around for a Sergeant Major, and I never could see it. And lunchtime had come, and I'd hear these motherfuckers, "Hey, good afternoon, Sergeant Major." Pretty soon this dude came over and he sat down in front of me. Somebody goes, "Hey, Sergeant Major, how you doing today?" And this guy looked up and he says, "I'm doing pretty good. How about you?" And I looked he was a buck sergeant, just a sergeant, but his last name was Major. And here I was all this time looking for a fucking Sergeant Major, freaking out like, "Oh, there's a Sergeant Major in here? They actually eat with us? What the fuck?" Yeah.
I've seen that kind of stuff too. And I'm like, what the fuck?
So do you guys know who Elijah Schaefer is?
I've heard of the name. I couldn't tell you.
Got that show Slightly Offensive?
Couldn't tell you right now.
It's on YouTube off and on. Gets strikes a lot. But I know he's on Rumble all the time. Well, he got a letter that he's being sued for $5 million from Kash Patel's girlfriend for suggesting that she's a honeypot operation. No shit.
Honeypot? How would... I mean, I know what a honeypot is, but did they give any more details?
Well, okay, so she works for, I think, she works for Prager University as well as TPUSA, so there's a conflict of interest there. She's most likely a spy. Okay, that's just my opinion. And here he is, the head of the FBI, right? Now, I want you to just look at this, okay? This woman's attractive, right? And she just is enamored by this.
Yeah, that dude looks like, holy fuck. Now I understand why some people didn't want to smile in old, Western pictures.
Oh, yeah, like in A Million Ways to Die in the West, that movie.
Yeah, have you ever smiled in a picture? Fuck no, I'm a crazy person.
And he ends up finding a picture. With somebody smiling. Look at this. Ain't that wild? What? He's fucking smiling. I can't believe it. People get killed at the fair. But I mean, look at this. This is a rather attractive woman by most standards. And then we've got this guy who looks like he just got off a shift of trying to sell you fucking car warranties or something, you know? Microsoft tech support. Yeah, I'm supposed to believe that this chick is hot after this guy. And there's nothing in it for her. Come on. So
Here's something that I always think is very
I
odd.
reposted it. I said, total honeypot. Sue me, bitch.
So Kash Patel was actually running for president, along with a lot of other people, Kristi Noem, and they were all running for president at the time. And all the losers somehow made Donald Trump's cabinet. What?
Yeah.
How does that always fucking happen?
I know. Well, remember Bongino talking about, and Kash Patel, I'll turn the FBI into a fucking museum the first day I'm in there and shit. Now he's exactly like him. He's one of them, man. I mean, listen, I'm going to say it again. I've said it a million times and I'll say it again. If you believe the FBI's official story of what went down at that university in Utah, you're clinically fucking retarded. Okay.
You say that affectionately.
Literally fucking retarded if you believe that shit.
I was on Discord about, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, roughly. And there was this one girl, because people started talking about that, you know, that fake event. And this one girl was getting like, oh no, was it on here? Oh, yes. I think it was. Yeah, that was when Dottie and her friend, right?
Oh, yeah. Or, yeah, my daughter, it was
Discord,
Cassidy and Shelby. I don't know why that thing said Dottie on it. I have no idea. That was Shelby and my daughter Cassidy.
But you could tell at the beginning she was like adamantly against it. But once all the facts were laid out, she's like, oh, I never paid attention to it. Therefore, I just believed it.
Right.
No, she was talking about how she believed in the idea of it either way. And that he was talking good shit and whatever. I didn't follow him.
Well, it does on the surface sound like really good shit, but then you start digging into the organization of TPUSA and you find out that these people are the opposite of what the fuck they're preaching.
And then this is what we call the white pages. And they're not hiding it. This is something that they want us to know, or they wouldn't have left the paper trail, right? And so there's always a paper trail.
Yeah.
And when you talk about money, and so then it didn't go to Israel. No, it went to some man, quote unquote. We'll argue about the description and whether it was spelled with capitals or not. But that's where the money is going, is to a man.
Let's trace it out and see where did the money come from at all. Okay.
Right. And what kind of hat does he wear? And what kind of hat is he wearing every fucking time?
Regardless of what kind of hat he wears, let's look at this. Benjamin Netanyahu going to give TPUSA $150 million. And I guess Charlie Kirk turned it down. Now, the question that needs to be asked is, where in the fuck did Benjamin Netanyahu get $150 million that he could just give to TPUSA?
I would say the United States.
Yes.
Were they going to pay fucking taxes on it?
Wait till I'm done, please.
I know.
So the United States, that's where that money came from. And how did the United States get that money to give to them? Well, they stole it from you and me. So basically, the money that these birds are given to TPUSA and these $7,000 for these influencers and all that other shit, where is that fucking money coming from? You're paying it. That's ultimately, you are the one paying it, because let's face it, Israel has no intrinsic wealth of its own. The United States government has no intrinsic wealth of its own. Anything the United States has as a corporation was stolen from you and I. Everything. So when we're giving money to Israel, regardless of whether you like it or not, it's your money that's going there. And then they funnel it back and give it to our own politicians to get their own way. What the fuck is that kind of money laundering operation going on?
Yeah, I don't know exactly. I'm not a history buff or anything like that when it comes to taxes. But the first tax that I'm aware of was property tax that was used to fund the wars of like the Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
After that, they created. How many taxes do we have now? I mean,
oh, well, and the thing was that property tax was implemented. Now, here's the thing: Georgia, Virginia, these other states that seceded away from the Union, once they were brought back into the Union after the Civil War, well, then these plantation owners and these property owners were like, hey, you owe us for 4 years of back taxes on that fucking thing. They're like, what? And in reality, they didn't, because they were not part of the United States. So that tax that was imposed on property did not apply to them. But they retroactively stuck it on them anyway. So what happened? Little small hat people from up north went down and started buying these plantations for pennies on the pound, on the dollar, for pennies on the dollar, because they'd go into foreclosure. And so these fucking Jewish bankers and shit go down there and buy these plantations and homes and property and shit for a mere fraction of what their value was.
It's a big house on it, each one with a big beautiful house.
This is one of the big reasons that the KKK came into existence. These people were known as carpetbaggers because they would come with these bags full of money that were made of like carpet. Usually for a bag, you know, that was what they had, was like Berber carpet that was sewed into a bag, and the shit carrying a bunch of money and trying to buy these fucking people out and everything. And the KKK was actually formed to protect people from these guys. They were doing the same thing as like what the railroad was doing back in the times of Jesse James and that. They were going through and terrorizing these farmers and these landowners into giving up their fucking land, basically stealing it.
Mobster shit. It's always been like that. It's always been take what thou wilt, man. It's always been in the background. People just behaving like that.
Sounds a bit like world's run by Satan.
So I would agree that there's freedom fighters and stuff like that, like the Proud Boys, and all of a sudden they get labeled as a terrorist group and shit like that. But why did the KKK? Because I've met them. I was in Virginia, and I'm sure you have as well, Dave. They're alive and well. Why do they burn crosses though?
I don't know. I'm not down for that whole thing of what they do now. They started with noble effort, of course. In fact, I think it was former Confederate General Nathan Bedford Forrest was one of the founders of the Ku Klux Klan. But, you know, I've never got really into that. You know, it's like I mind my own. I don't believe in race mixing. I don't think that that's really a thing that should be done. But who am I to tell other people what to do? I can only be responsible for myself. I can voice my opinion about it, but that's where it ends.
What if we're not making babies? Is it okay then?
I don't care. I'm not going to be around to know anything the fuck about it. I don't give a shit what y'all do. You can burn the son of a bitch down for all I care. I really do.
No, I'm just saying, contraception. We're not going to breed. We're just going to enjoy each other. Is that okay?
Whatever. It's that's between you and God, man. I have nothing to do with it. I have nothing to do with it. I live by as much of that serenity prayer as I possibly can, and I think it is one of the most overlooked yet important things to remind yourself of all the time. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference between the two. So if I ain't nothing I can do about it, fuck it. I don't care. You all do what you got to do. It's unfortunate. You're going to come to whatever demise that comes about from it. But that's out of my wheelhouse. It's above my pay grade. I can't do anything about
it. In regards to Veterans Day, this is something that every military member has to go through at MEPS, which is the military enlistment processing station.
Oh,
and that's
God,
called the Oath of Enlistment. Yeah, I'm going to read it right now so just people can understand. This is what they have to hold up their hand, and it says, I, and they have to repeat your name, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me, according to regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God. Everyone has to do this. Otherwise, you can't join the military. Uh-oh.
Yeah, but you could lie. In theory, you could lie, though. You can take an oath and just lie.
You know, when I did that oath, I remember it was down there at the MEP station, and I was standing there. There probably, I don't know, anywhere between 70 and 100 guys in that whole room, you know. And that guy stepped up there and he says, "Okay, repeat after me." And right off the bat, my mind went into comedy mode, you know. I've never took nothing real serious, right? Anyway, guy got up there, he says, "Repeat after me." And he goes, "I state your name." And here's all these people, they say "I" and they say their name, but I didn't. I said, "I state your name. Do solemnly swear." So I never did actually swear into it, but nobody knew because there was like, you know, 100 fucking people all saying their name at the same time. Nobody was really paying attention. And the worst part is people take that oath, you know, and I looked at it. I was like, whoa, I don't know about all that. But they don't understand what that really is, what they're doing. Even when you go and you learn the Pledge of Allegiance as a kid, right? And do you understand it? No. You just know that you learn this little fucking poem that you look at the flag and you say it, and all the grown-ups are real proud of you and call you a little patriot and everything else, and it seems to be a favorable thing. But they don't know what they're saying. It's like there was a kid that stood next to me, and I was always trying to correct him. And he'd be saying it and say, "And to the Republic for Richard Sands." And I says, "No, it's for which it stands." I said, "Who in the hell is Richard Sands?" But he never would believe me, and he thought it was for Richard Sands. So whatever, you know. Crazy.
Yeah, by the way, the military oath, people are I'm not looking at chat right now, but it was amended on May 5th, 1960, went into effect 1962.
What's that? What did?
The enlistment oath.
Okay.
And then, but it was first adopted in 1789. But they changed the wording on it. I don't know what the previous one was. I'll have to look that up too.
Huh.
Oh, and then there's oath of commissioned officers. Okay. "I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America, United States against enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter. So help me God." So it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But they say that I take this obligation freely. I've never actually read this one before. Huh.
Yeah, being a commissioned officer is a little bit different than enlistment.
Yeah, they can get fired and they can quit at any point.
Well, they can actually be called back too.
Yeah.
They can be called back too. Now, the most mysterious thing to me, and it still is to this day, is a warrant officer.
Oh, I know. I've only met one of them ever.
Yeah, we had a warrant officer flew our helicopter. There was one in charge down at the motor pool and one of that worked on certain generators. And you call him Mr. So-and-so, you know, like instead of like Lieutenant Jones or Captain Jones, it'd be, you know,
yeah, because they only have,
or if they're a chief warrant officer, then you call them like Chief Jones.
Right, and because there's warrant officers, it goes level 1 through 5, and they have. No, I've met more than one, but I never basically ever talked or actually like worked with them or anything. But then one of the guys that at one of the colleges I worked at years ago, he was a retired W3, and I said, "Okay, so how does it work? Who has more authority?" Like, so I know an 05 has more authority than an 02.
Right.
How does it work when it comes to warrant officers? And he couldn't even give me a straight answer. He's like, I don't really know. It's just nothing really came up like that.
Okay, so it says in the United States Armed Forces, the rank of warrant officer grade W1 and chief warrant officer grade CW2 through CW5 are rated as officers above all non-commissioned officers, candidates, cadets, and midshipmen, but subordinates to the lowest officer grade of O1. So they're like in between enlisted and commissioned. They're like a step between them. So you could be like a chief warrant officer 4, which is the highest rank of warrant officer, and O1 Butter Bar Louie could tell you go scrub the toilets, and you have to do it.
No, it's W5. He said W4.
Or W4, W5, it doesn't matter. The lowest ranking of the officer class still has higher rank than the warrant officer.
Yeah, it's so hard to tell what rank they even are because those little butter bars have these different stripes on them.
The little squares in them. Yeah. They were usually some of the coolest officers that there were, was the warrant officers. They were more like, they were more like civilians than military. The way that was my experience with them. They didn't like a lot of the military bullshit. They'd cut around the corners and only, do regulation shit when somebody was watching. That's how these guys that I knew were. Anyway, what was this thing here? This was, oh yeah, this guy gets it. Let's hear what he's got to say. What the hell? We're having a good time here.
If you spend any time on the internet, then you probably see the spike in abundance of evangelical Christian influencers, Jewish influencers that are pushing this narrative that Christians and Jews need to stand together and they need to support Israel.
The relationship that we have with the state of Israel and our Jewish brothers and sisters.
If you reject Judaism and Christianity and the brotherhood and the sisterhood of the two, not only are you rejecting our founding, you're rejecting our country.
Now, again, I've been called anti-Semitic for even suggesting that Israel is the one that's behind this, funding this whole thing. It's a whole campaign funding churches and influencers and all the above to push this narrative, trying to get evangelical support, because that evangelical support is the number one reason why the U.S. supports Israel. With that said, you can find all of these documents on FAR.gov like I have, so let's get into them together. So here's the FAR document that was filed with the Department of Justice. You can see here, name of registrant, Show Faith by Works LLC, name of foreign principal, Israel, Ministry of Foreign Affairs. You can pause this and read box 9 for yourself, but in box 10, you can see down here, encouraging Christians to have a more favorable view of the nation of Israel. And here's a snapshot of the reported budget, but actually they've spent way more than this. And here's where they go into talking about funding pastors and churches and Hollywood elites and influencers and social media and podcasts and all the book deals, all sorts of stuff that has to do with targeting specifically the evangelical Christian scene. And here's their slideshow. And you can read it for yourself. You can pause and read it. But basically, it's just saying that they need to bolster evangelical Christian support that has been lowered in the United States. They need it. And for those of you that are wondering why they're going so hard and targeting evangelical Christians, it's because that is literally what keeps our country going. If they lose evangelical support for Israel, they have no more support in the United States. So to say this is anti-Semitic, that I put this out there, is not. I'm literally reporting what Israel is doing. Now, this one's super interesting. They're targeting Christian colleges and Christian activities, but social media and podcast activities is one of their number one main goals. So for these influencers to say they're not being paid or supported by Israel, they're fucking liars. Now down here, targeted digital support, largest geofencing and Christian targeting campaign in U.S. history. So they're just infiltrating and mass grabbing all of your digital cell phone data and redirecting Christians to pro-Israeli propaganda. And they say we're being infiltrated by Islam.
Yeah, right. Geofencing, all that bullshit. That's insane, man. They're really getting worried because look, this is the whole thing. People over here are going, why are we giving them motherfuckers money? And they know that without the money, without our support, they don't exist. See, now all I got to do is get people more awake than that to realize that our own government can only exist if we play their fucking game.
Should we give any country money?
No. Why?
Well, I'm just asking. I mean,
yeah, I mean, I can't really understand why we would give them money. For what?
Well,
I mean, when did we become the big brother of other countries, especially countries that have existed even longer than we have?
I'd agree, and I'd say, yeah, should we give any country money? Maybe in some very rare circumstances, like if humanitarian needs.
Yeah, I can see that, a humanitarian relief or something like that. Yeah, we should be benevolent, and that's the way they always try to portray us as benevolent. But we're anything but. We only do anything like that if it's somehow to our benefit. We don't do it just out of, hey, these people are suffering and we have the capacity to help. That's not what we do. We go, hey, we can get over there and get in good with these people and then steal all their shit. That's what we do. That's what we've always done. Just
don't
go
forget
in and steal everybody's shit, man.
I don't know the exact amount, but all of the weapons that were left in the Middle East over the years.
It was obscene.
Yeah, it goes into the many billions of dollars of equipment.
Well, that don't mean nothing because we deal with trillions now. I can't believe it, man. I was flipping shit when we hit. I remember back when we hit $1 trillion in debt. 1 trillion.
What are we at now?
And that we're at 32. I can't figure if it was 32 or 36. Either way, there ain't that much money in the fucking world. Okay, there just isn't. And to put it into perspective for people, I know you've maybe heard me say this before. If you made $1 a second, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, it would take you 31,780, I think it's 783 years to reach $1 trillion. Almost 32,000 years is 1 trillion seconds. That's one. Now multiply that by, what is it now? It's at what, 32 or 36?
It's at 38.182 billion, trillion.
$38 trillion. Think about that, man. Think about how much. So let's just round it. 32,000 years by times 38. Let me see. I got a calculator on here.
I'm going to go with like $50 a second times 3,600 seconds in an hour times 24 times 365 per year. That was $50 a second. Yeah, it would be 1.5 trillion.
Let me see. That's the calendar. Where's my fucking calculator? That's a calendar. Well, I have to go down here. There it is. All right, so let's see. We're going to go 32,000 years. I'm just going to round it up. And I'm going to go times 38. So that'd take you, to get that much money, it would take you 1,216,000 years to at $1 a second. That's insane, man. That's insane. Can we pay that out in pennies?
Have you ever read or even listened to the audiobook of the Creature from Jekyll Island?
Let me say, what happened to my thing? Oh, Jesus. Why did that
it's a book about the founding of the Federal Reserve, and it just goes into, at one point, it's really detailed. You have to listen to it a couple times or read it a couple times, easy. But one of the things they were saying in that book was, if the United States were to take 100% of our GDP and put it towards the national debt, it would still, there would be no money left, and it would just go towards the national debt, and it would just completely fucking collapse the entire system entirely.
Mm-hmm.
You could do it for multiple years in a row, and it still wouldn't scratch. It wouldn't complete it. So, yeah, it's why I don't understand exactly why the national debt. Why don't we just say it doesn't exist anymore? I mean, who's going to enforce it?
Right. Let's just tell them we don't owe you that shit no more. We quit. We're defaulting. What are you going to do? Repossess our country? You already own it, fuckers.
Well, I think we own China like $9 trillion or something like that for whatever fucking reason.
Look at this thing, this beast. This is Laura Loomer, man. She's just been getting scarier and scarier looking by the day. Look at this thing. Look at her.
Oh my God, what happened to her?
Wow.
That is. And she's happy?
I guess she now is Pentagon. She works in the Pentagon for the press in the press corps.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a beast right there. Oh yeah, this is kind of cool. Here's a body language expert breaks down Erica Kirk's bizarre behavior. Deception signs, the 4 micro expressions of a liar. That might be a little interesting. Recruiters have this, you'll note. Boy, they nice as fuck to you till after you sign, and that's it. Boom. That friendly recruiter is now a sergeant.
And why does she have that? Is because she's disgusted that she's not being able to pull it off. And so that's another reason. When a liar is maybe feeling a little tense that they can't pull something off, they're going to have that momentary feeling of disgust with themselves. But that leads into the 4th item, which this is really interesting. And this is which Ekman coined this term called duping delight. When the liar feels like I'm duping you, like I'm pulling one over on you, they have this moment of just sheer happiness. And that's when you see those flashes of giddiness and happiness. And in her, and this is what's remarkable, is she has all 4 of these going on. Like, and she's just going all about it. And you'll see her eyes rolling around, and you'll see the smile happening, you know, and of course, in walks the handkerchief, right? Like whatever this thing she's carrying around, right? You'll see it going up into her face, and she's just filled with glee, you know? And so, and again, that she's flashing around like so fast on the face, on these micro expressions. She does all 4 of these, and she just keeps cycling, right? So, and that's just kind of the overarching 4 of deception that she pulls off. But to me, I'm going to go into something that's like really, really obvious. Like this is an obvious marker of when someone's not telling you the truth, is the absolute avoidance of eye contact. And to me, a lot of people, they're talking about the handkerchief and why is she, you know, these fake tears and everything. That's not the reason for the handkerchief. The reason for the handkerchief is because she has to avoid eye contact. And I'm pretty convinced that whoever is, you know, training her on this whole fake experience is, you know, she was probably not able to avoid eye contact correctly, and they probably said just use your handkerchief.
She's had a lot of training in this, because let's not forget that she was a romance television actress.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Like only tantamount, you know, almost to the level of soap opera. A soap opera actress.
Oh,
you know?
I never understood soap operas. My mom used to be addicted to those. But...
Oh my God, I know. Listen, that's all the women were. All the women were. That was the thing, man. I can remember I hated it when the Days of Our Lives came on, because I knew when I saw that fucking hourglass on the TV that it was nap time. And I hated fucking nap time. But when I heard the Dark Shadows come on, I knew nap time was over. So, yeah.
So in regards to that, I don't even know what you can call her anymore. Some sort of an automaton fucking witch or something.
Erica? Yeah.
Oh, no, whoever that was.
Oh, that woman?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. The one that has the witch chin.
Oh, Laura Loomer.
Laura Loomer. Okay.
Laura Loomer's got that's who that was. I know she's looking worse and worse all the time.
So I got a series of short videos. This is basically comedy and also jaw-dropping, like what the fuck. So I'm gonna share this. Okay.
General Hospital. That's right, Mr. Albert. I remember The Luke and Laura saga. Do you remember the Luke and Laura saga? How about what was the one that they had where the Kardashians had a weather machine or some shit?
What the fuck?
Hey, Leanne, what show was that? With the weather machine and all that? I don't remember. It was one of those. One of them soap operas when they had that weather machine and everything. Was that on General Hospital? I think that was on General Hospital. They started getting really weird.
All right, so here's the
Oh,
series.
wait,
of
I gotta
videos.
remove mine from there. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, so it has some audio to it, but you're gonna be laughing and then also very appalled at some of the stuff that it's only a few videos, so or they're very, very short. Don't worry.
I told my boy go roll like 10 blends for me. I told my boy go roll like 10 blends for me. I'm tryna get high till I can't feel nothing. I'm tryna get high till I can't feel.
Yavaş değil. Lan! Lan! Hadi tut!
Have fun getting back up. Oh my God.
Can men get pregnant?
Mr. Chairman, yes.
Okay. Define what a woman is.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
There are people who identify
Women.
as different genders who are capable of getting pregnant. That is my position on this. I am not going to feed more into the bigotry of that question.
So what is this right here?
The pelvis. It's the only bone in the body that's gender specific, which means it's different in boys and girls.
Is it?
Yes. The pelvis's job to protect the organs used for digesting and reproduction, which means throwing babies.
Just shut up.
All right, go ahead.
Oh my God.
Let's go. Oh my God, that was not the right way to do that. Are you okay? Are you okay?
I'm the alpha, I'm the leader, I'm the one that
This is what's going on in society. What the fuck?
Why did somebody...
Baby, just go, honey. Just go. It's gonna be all right. Just go.
Oh, and by the way, it's gonna get worse. Okay, it's only a few more videos, but it's.
Is he stealing phone?
Yeah, the display ones.
Oh God, they don't even work.
Yeah, you can. And this isn't even the worst.
Gross.
This is painting over a shadow.
Oh my God.
Yep. How bad is it gonna get? sad thing is she would actually be attractive if that wasn't fucking happening to her. And this is...
Is this how you cook every day, or what?
I mean, this is a regular, everyday occurrence for me in the kitchen today, groceries.
Well, that weirdo couldn't find nothing else to wear. I mean, what else kind of clothes did that? Was the most misshapen looking woman that I've seen in a long time. I don't know. Maybe this is a close second right here.
Gravy make a splash like Pippin. Shit, that's nothing. Splash. Everybody call me Big Pimpin'.
Yeah. I don't know. We got that.
Now let me see you
Wow.
Yeah.
And people actually put that on the internet.
Yes.
They're proud of it or something.
Yes.
But you shouldn't be leaving your house, much less putting it onto the fucking internet.
I know, man. Those pants like that should be illegal for somebody like that to wear. You know, I mean, I appreciate the lesson in reading lips, but that's a little. I'm reading way more than I should. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and kids have access to this stuff. It's like, what?
Well, yeah, they're trying to tear them up, man. They're trying to destroy the kids.
And nobody else. Where's D-Man? Where's Chad?
I don't know. It's shunning me or something, I guess. I don't know. I don't know where they are tonight. It is odd. Maybe they've been kidnapped or something. I hope not.
The Jewish people use this. Like, that's why all the, like, Houdini, like all the great magicians are Jewish. I don't know if you know that.
God, I hadn't thought about that.
They use it's hypnosis, it's mentalism. In fact, there's a very famous one. His name's Liar Suchard, or Lior, but his real name is Liar. Like, they name themselves these things on purpose. Like, you know, Marina Abramovich, right?
Yeah, the spirit cooking, yeah.
Abramovich, the Abrahamic witch. It's her name. They put it in their names, like, all the time. Like, Tony Podesta, Pedo Esta. Like, you know, James Elefantis. El Infantis means the infants. So it's like they know, and they put in their name, whether, I don't know if they're intentionally putting in their names.
Well, they say oftentimes, you know, symbolism will be their downfall. That there's some sort of like satanic obligation that they have with the devil, this pact that they make with Satan. And part of that is that they have to tell you what they're going to do to you.
Okay, I'll tell you why that is. That's not exactly what it is, but it's close. And there's a reason for that. And it's the reason why is because if you do something that you know you're not supposed to do, you are then liable to the demonic influence in your life. So that's what sin is. People don't understand what sin is. People think like sin's like, I follow the Bible and this says it there, and that's not what sin is. Jesus came and restored that. And he said the new law is written in Jeremiah 31:31-34. It says the new law will be written on your hearts and put in your minds. You know what is right and wrong. Okay, a child does. Now you can pervert that child's mind, but that's why the Bible says if you pervert a child's mind or do anything to the little ones, it's better for you to have a millstone thrown around your neck and cast into the sea. But naturally, a child knows what was right and wrong. If you leave a child, like, you don't need to tell them stealing's wrong. They'll know by default stealing is wrong.
That doesn't belong to me. I shouldn't take it.
Yes.
It's just innately in.
It is in most children, unless they're programmed otherwise, which that's been a lot of that has happened. But like, you know what is right and wrong.
And that's absolutely true. I've talked about that before. It's that little inner voice, that little feeling you get in your stomach, you know, when you're fucking up, you know, and if you override that, then you're able to, I guess, look past it and go ahead and do things, but you still know when you're wrong. You absolutely do.
Yeah, I heard, this was years ago. It was a child psychologist, and she was trying to figure out exactly, it was a study she did, like, when do people learn how to lie? And what she came to the conclusion of was when they can say about 100 words.
Okay.
because she was also trying to figure out like when do people recognize themselves in a mirror. And that's like around 2 to 2.5 years old. It's kind of weird. Child psychology is very, very interesting.
I'm a little. I take it with a grain of salt. Some of it's pretty legit. I did see an interesting experiment they did with toddlers, and what they did was they had these puppets, and one was this elephant puppet, and the other two were identical looking rabbit puppets. The only difference between the two rabbits was that one had on a red shirt and the other one had a green shirt. Okay. And they put on like a little show entertaining the kid, and it showed the little elephant was trying to open this like treasure box. There was like a little treasure box there. The elephant was trying to open it and having some difficulty doing it. And they brought out the one rabbit, like in the green shirt, and the green shirt rabbit helped the elephant open the box. And when both of the little puppets had opened the box, the kid, each one of them obviously showed joy for, that they succeeded in their attempts, right? But then what they did was had the elephant trying to open the box again, and then they had the rabbit with the red shirt try to keep him from being able to open the box.
Whoa.
There was obvious disapproval from the kids toward the red shirt rabbit. They didn't like it.
There was obvious disapproval.
Okay, so you got to echo yaha wah 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 son. You're gonna have to work that out. You always have this problem when you come on here. So they did that with a few things to where the red shirt rabbit was not helpful and kind of contrary to the elephant, and the green shirted one was helpful and benevolent toward the elephant. Well, later on they had the rabbit puppets offer the kids a cookie, and like 90% of the kids would not take a cookie from the bad rabbit, only from the good rabbit. And it wasn't until the ransom got high enough that they were able to overlook what the rabbits had done. So when it got to the point where the thing was offering like 5 cookies, they didn't give a fuck who it came from. Showing that, so everybody will have a price. So that's one of our flaws. The 5 cookies was their 30 pieces of silver. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. And so, these kids were how old? What, like 5?
Little toddlers, like about, I don't know, 2-3 years old, if that.
Okay.
It's a very, very interesting study. I'll tell you another one they did.
But I can't hear.
Yeah, I was talking.
Can't hear.
Well, okay, we can hear you though, and that's a problem. This teacher, and she did this as an experiment and as a lesson to the kids. And I think I saw this on TV after a while. Okay, I'm sorry, you gotta mute. And what she did was she came in and she told the kids that experts, scientists had found out that blue-eyed people were smarter and better than brown-eyed people. And in a very short period of time, there was bigotry happening amongst the kids. The kids with brown eyes were treated as lesser by the blue-eyed kids. The blue-eyed kids all were doing really well in their schoolwork, and the brown-eyed kids were kind of like slacking off. They stopped doing as well. They stopped, this whole little dynamic played out for a whole week. Then Monday morning came around again, and the teacher told him, says, "You remember last week when I told you about how," and they even had
Monday morning came around.
God damn it.
Remember last week when I told
You gotta go. Your shit echoes every time you come on here, bro. So they even had derogatory names, calling him Brownie and stuff like that. Oh, you got the wrong answer, Brownie, and stuff like that. And they tease him on the playground and everything. Okay. So then Monday comes along, And she told all the kids, she goes, you remember last week when I told you how scientists had found that blue-eyed people were better and smarter than brown-eyed people? She goes, I had it backwards. I'm sorry for the mistake. They actually, what they found out was that brown-eyed people were smarter and better than blue-eyed people. It reversed. The whole condition reversed. The brown-eyed kids started doing better. The blue-eyed kids started doing worse. The brown-eyed kids had come up with derogatory names for the blue-eyed kids and were picking at them for being slower and not as smart and every other thing like that. So then they let that go for a week. And then the third week she came in and she says, okay, that thing I told you about the eyes, she goes, I made that up. She goes, none of that was true, but look at how you treated one another because you thought that. Look at how you all treated one another. And they carried that lesson, and it was really cool because all those kids from that class that she did that experiment with as adults came back and thanked her for the lesson that it had taught them.
Oh, they remembered it.
Yeah.
As adults.
Yeah.
Wow.
They were just like, third graders, third grade, fourth grade. And then as adults, they came back, they thanked her because PBS did a whole documentary on it. It was pretty cool. I don't know if you could find her. I should look for that, show it one night. But yeah, it's interesting because people will go by that perception. And, if you are growing up in a culture that tells you continuously that you are the only true humans, that you're better than all the rest of the people on the earth because you're some chosen, without, you're told this shit. What kind of an attitude are you going to have growing up? You're going to you're going to treat anyone who's not of your ilk as lesser. You're going to treat them as animals. You're going to see them as animals. It's going to make it easier for you to kill them if it's necessary. And that's what we've got going on right now in the world.
Anyone with a small hat is kind of thinking that.
Yes. There's some reprehensible shit to do. And that in itself is child abuse. Because
they have the double whammy, though, because there's the superiority complex and there's also the victim complex.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so a lot of people nowadays, oh, yeah, I'm the victim because of something that happened 150 years ago.
Yeah.
But the small hats, they have both.
Oh, you just hate Jews. It's like, yeah, well, wait a minute. No, it's not that I hate Jews or anything. It's you guys have this tendency to always be the victim. Think about it, Andrew. Every one of their holidays is revolving around running or fleeing or hiding from someone. All their holidays. Yeah, right. 109, 109. We got 109. Do I hear 110? US, do I hear 110? Up the bid. I'm serious, man. It's crazy. Let's see what this broad's got to say. She's cute. I haven't decided if I think she's got some Chinese mixed in her. Don't you?
Or something.
I mean, it's got, she does tend to have like the higher cheekbones and you can see a little bit in her eyes. Listen, I'll tell you what, when Europeans and Asians, their offspring are usually very beautiful. I've noticed. Amerasian girls are usually pretty hot.
Okay.
Tucker Carlson recently sat down with Megyn Kelly and said pretty much what most of the conservative voters, really all voters in America, are thinking. How dare the Republicans actually think of America first? These days, this is anti-Semitism.
I'm not actually mad at Israel. I'm mad at our leaders for spending their time and my money focusing on someone else's country. And then if you say anything about it, it's like, you're a Nazi, you're an anti-Semite. Well, actually, I'm not. And I'm in a really great place to say that because I'm really am not. Why is the overwhelming majority of the U.S. Congress taking money from a foreign unregistered lobby? Like, what? They want to prevent you from asking that question because there really isn't a good answer other than shut up.
That's exactly right.
And now just real quick so that you know, that woman that was talking to Tucker, you think it's Megyn Kelly. But in reality, it's Nicole Brown Simpson.
Whoa.
Yeah, man. I think it is, man.
There is no good answer other than shut up. I agree with Tucker in that I'm not mad at Israel for Israel looking out for Israel. I think that's what every country should do. Israel is looking out for the best interests of Israel, and Israel's figured out a way to get America to do its bidding. Israel has figured out if we spend enough money on the politicians, if we essentially bribe them, or if we blackmail them, or if we use a lot of social media or movies or whatever it is to brainwash, then hey, it works, it's effective, and it works for our agenda. I'm not going to blame Israel for doing that, and I certainly wouldn't blame America for doing that either. We should be doing what is in our best interest. The problem is, we're not. And Tucker's right there. It's not Israel that's causing our politicians to behave the way they're behaving. Our politicians are choosing to behave this way. Our political class is selling us out, not Israel. That's where the majority of the conservatives stand. They agree with Tucker. So if you want to root them all out, by all means, but you won't have a party. The party will have moved on from you. And that is what's going to happen to this pro-Israel crowd. The party is moving on from them, as it should. Finally, it's been long enough. Make America great again is not anti-Semitism.
Most people don't even know what Semitism even is.
Right.
It's an overused word, like you were saying before.
It's a made up nonsense word, like homophobe.
Yeah.
It's a made up nonsense word. Let's break it down. Anti, okay, against. Semite, offspring of Shem. Well, you're not the fucking offspring of Shem. What are you talking
I
about?
can hear and see you, but I cannot.
What? Yahweh, Hawa, so whatever. Dude, the next time, the last time you was on here when you had all your shit working, do that the same way.
Shit work.
Yeah. I'm going to have to, he can't figure this thing out. It's not that hard. I don't get it. I don't get it. Oh, this is kind of crazy. Is this AI? This says that a real griffin was spotted in Peru. A griffin.
What?
Yeah.
Queen Califia taught the griffins to kill the enemy. We are the American Indians. This is our emblem, the griffin. Let it be known worldwide.
The griffin, our emblem of the Tartary Empire, the advanced civilization of technology, agriculture, and free energy. Yes, this is not AI, illiterate parasites. This is real, and it was spotted in Peru. Believe it.
Why is
This
it on repeat?
our
then?
emblem.
What's that?
Why is it on repeat?
I don't know. That's what they.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's not. Then he has to actually say not AI. I don't know. Hint, hint, wink, wink.
Let's see that fucking thing fly.
The American Indians, also known as the American Egyptians, also known as the Tartarians. Let it be known worldwide. We are them people. I'm the high-tech trendsetter, Newbie One.
That's real. Believe it.
Think so?
I don't know. That's what he said.
Well, apparently, the Loch Ness Monster is real too. I don't
Oh, so did you hear where these text messages about, you know, at the place where Charlie Kirk was supposedly assassinated at?
Yep.
That they did all this new construction there, right? Well, there's some text messages from like contractors in the school that have come out that are kind of fishy regarding that. Talking about, I'll let you hear it. It's pretty crazy.
Remember how we all thought it was weird that UVU was renovating the courtyard where Charlie Kirk was assassinated? Only a few days after the fact. Then how a UVU official addressed this, saying that it wasn't an attempt to cover up anything, that the paving work was already on the calendar as part of a planned campus renovation. Well, it turns out that UVU was reaching out to construction companies on Saturday, September 13th, only 3 days after the assassination. information. Text messages were obtained by Project Constitution via a GRAMA request, which allows the public to request access to government records, including state universities. Now, the names are redacted, but it shows that as early as Saturday, September 13th, they were looking to paver the whole area, and that the guys in the construction company were en route to do that. And this one's weird. Maybe that would be good. My guys are well trained in keeping quiet. Why do they need to be quiet? The exchange goes on to say that the university wants to get rid of all of the sod. The contractor asking if there's anybody on site that they should coordinate with, and someone responding, just get her done. Thank you. Usually a renovation like this would have to go through approvals and funding, not to mention it was a crime scene. Plus, if this was previously planned, would you need to be asking all of these questions, including making design decisions? So you have to wonder, how did they get this approval? And who gave it to them, and why? As always, I want to hear what you think about all of this down below.
Yeah, when it comes to that kind of stuff in regards to construction, I know this because I've worked for federal, state, and city on contracts like that. And what they're required to do is get 3 bids. And what they're supposed to do is go with the lowest one. It's kind of fucked up. But how are they good at keeping quiet? Because they're fucking illegal. Like, you say anything, I got a bus ticket for you.
Yep. Yep. We're gonna send who's that guy? Holman? Isn't he the guy that's in charge of that deporting everybody?
Oh yeah, the border czar.
Tom Holman.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you the one who's a beastly looking thing up close. At Christy Noem. You only ever see her with a lot of makeup. She wears a lot of makeup, and they use filters, man. But you get up close to that broad, and she is a beast.
Huh. South Park did an episode about that where her face kept melting off and
Yes.
then running across the floor.
Yes, I remember that now. Yeah, that's right. She kept shooting puppies.
Yeah.
I was like, that was fucked up.
What do you think about Pam Bondi?
Fuck her. She's a beast too. She's got a lot of makeup on too. These people,
59.
evil people, start showing their evilness. It starts permeating out into their looks. Look at Donald Trump. Even he's looking more and more like crinkled up and evil as time goes. You know, he goes to that damn football game last night and he got booed. Or the other night he went to the Commanders Lions game. And when they brought his big fat ass up on the Jumbotron, man, that whole stadium fucking erupted in boos.
Wow.
How do you go from what he was back January to being booed in stadiums in 11 months?
For not following through with his commitments.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, listen, he lost a lot of people when he pulled that Epstein who. Are we still talking about Epstein? What the fuck, dude? You ran on that shit. You ran on that. That you're going to release the Epstein list. And that's what Kash Patel was talking about when he was going to get in the FBI. He was going to uncover all this shit. And Bongino and these people. Shit. They got a taste of that life after the YouTube fucking circus. And you know, hell, they're on the team now. They're on the team.
He could have run on a couple of different things. He could have just I'm just going to make one up right now. I'm going to give everybody that makes less than $250,000 a year $1 million. You know how many fucking people will be voting for him just for that?
I think there's campaign laws against that shit though.
Well, I'm
like
just
giving people stuff. They do an end run around it by welfare, being the candidate for the welfare reform or some shit like that. But I don't think they can out and out promise you a gift. It's like that one crackpot dude that runs every time. What's his name? Vermin Supreme. Have you ever seen him?
No.
You've never seen Vermin Supreme?
No.
Oh my word! Hang on, you got to see this guy.
All right, yeah. I got another 10 to 15 minutes and I got to get going.
Here, this is the guy. He wears a rubber boot on his head. Okay.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, I'm not shitting you, man. This guy's for real. and he runs for president. And he promises that if he wins, he'll give everybody a pony. Yeah, I think this is it.
Where's my fucking pony at?
Hang on, let me pull this up for you. You're gonna like this guy. Yeah, this is Vermin Supreme.
What?
Yeah, boy. See, he ain't just got one tie on. He's wearing what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different ties. I think I see on there. Wearing them all at the same time. And he wears a rubber boot on his head.
What is this, like Gandalf on fucking LSD or something?
Yeah, man. And he runs. I mean, he campaigns and he goes and walks around and talks to the people. Hang on a second. Let me see something. Has he got a that's from 2013.
I wonder how long it's going to be until we have drag queens running for fucking president.
Oh, you know, we may have already had that.
Oh,
you know, we almost had Michelle Obama.
Oh, yeah. Well, I saw that one little clip you had. Stop calling Michelle Obama a man. Not Big Mike. She hates that. It's like, well, because she has a dick.
Here's Vermin Supreme on nuclear weapons.
What do you think about first use of nuclear weapons and U.S. No first use policy?
You know, at one point, one of my earliest platforms, which was in '87, included the quip, and of course it was no comment, but disarmament through deployment. And that was that was my quip. That we should get rid of the nuclear weapons by using it.
Wow.
Yeah, but of course that was come on. Naturally, I believe that nuclear weapons are a violation of the Geneva Convention because they, in their war crimes against humanity, because they target civilians indiscriminately. So ultimately, I am for global nuclear disarmament. I've been an anti-nuclear activist. Back in the day, in the late 90s, I took part in a lot of the anti-nuke activities about a nuclear test site, SOS and media, things like that. And so, yeah, totally. Yeah.
So we should never use them first.
It's ridiculous.
Oh my God.
He says you get a free pony if you vote for him.
I don't think there's enough ponies out there. Are there?
No, he's not getting. He's not ever going to win either. So you know, let's just keep that for real. But I think it's I don't know. I'll write him, man. I'll vote for him.
Hey, don't forget, I'm running for president in 2028.
Are you really? Are you really going to do it?
Yeah, I have to figure out how to do it, but
well, first you got to become a scumbag.
Well, I'm gonna run. I gotta get a website set up and all that kind of stuff, and whether my name's going to be on the ballot or not.
You're going to have something you can be compromised by. So I don't know, maybe hook up with an OnlyFans model for, you know, and if the small hats don't have anything on you, you're not going to get on the ballot.
Well, I'm going to, number one premise is to shut down NASA within 1 week of going into office and make them pay for at least the last 10 years worth of nonsense, pay that back to the people.
Well, see, that's the thing. The space deal with NASA is only their cover. What they're really there is for black budget operations, DARPA projects and things like that. Most of their budget is going into shit for research like smart dust and directed energy weapons and that kind of shit. You know, they keep you placated by, you know, playing bouncy string and puppet master, pretending they're floating around in space, but it ain't got shit to do with space, really, in all reality.
I agree.
It's about coming up with shit to control us. So that's where that money actually goes. Yeah, that's where that money actually goes. The only thing that goes to space is your fucking imagination. Did you catch it? Did you catch my man Wesley on here last night?
I don't recall.
Oh man, this guy, he's a little globe troll guy.
Oh, I know who he is. I've spoken with him here before. And I asked him a very basic electrical question and he couldn't answer it. You're an electrical engineer? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, well, he said he's a forensic engineer. Because look, I walked him right through it. I says, "Hold on a second. Did you get the COVID shot?" And somebody else had asked him that, and then I pressed him on it. Did you get it? And he says, "Yeah." I says, 9/11. Do you believe the official 9/11 commission report? Do you believe that that's what happened? He says, "Well, yeah." And I was like, "Oh boy." I says, "Do you believe that Oswald shot Kennedy from the book depository?" And then he didn't want to answer no more, but it was like, this guy believes every fucking thing he's told by the government, or at least he has to pretend he does for some reason.
Yeah, I don't get it. Hell, you can't look at things under a critical spectrum, critical eye, and be able to make up your own mind. They're like, "Oh, that's what the TV told me." Okay.
Yeah, well, you're not an expert. Yeah, but I got critical thinking abilities and I got common sense, and your story don't have neither one of those. That's the thing that gets me, you know. And then you start digging deeper into these things and you find too many fucking coincidental things. Like little details, like in the Kennedy thing, right? Why did he leave Dallas in a ceremonial coffin and then arrive in DC in a shipping coffin? Okay. Who else got taken to Parkland Hospital that day? Anybody know?
No,
besides
I don't.
John Kennedy?
No.
Well, we know that John Connally, the governor of Texas at the time, he was taken to the Parkland Hospital because that's where the magic bullet fell out of his leg onto a gurney that he wasn't even on. But besides that, another guy, Officer Tibbetts, who was allegedly shot by Oswald before he ducked in and hid in a movie theater. Now, the interesting thing about Officer Tibbetts is he had a nickname around the precinct. People called him JFK because he had a striking resemblance to John Kennedy.
Huh.
Now, where was he shot? Oh, in the head. He was shot in the head. So what do we got going on here? We got two bodies that look similar to one another, both shot in the head, both at the same hospital, bodies illegally removed from the state and from the hospital by the U.S. government. Kennedy leaves Dallas in a ceremonial coffin and arrives in D.C. in a shipping coffin. Huh.
Yeah, that sounds weird.
Did they switch bodies?
That one I have never heard of before.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's even alleged, I've heard it alleged, that it was actually G. Gordon Liddy that shot Tibbetts. He was supposed to shoot him in the back of the head, but he fucked up and shot him in the front of the head. So they had two bodies with front gunshot wounds to the head. That wasn't part of the plan. That's why they brought in this fucking plastic surgeon guy that works. He worked on bodies. And there's obvious surgical alterations to John Kennedy when he arrived in Bethesda.
I've heard something else about this, and I don't know if I buy it, but some people have been saying that he never was actually killed, but he just kind of went into hiding, got a little bit of plastic surgery, and then later on, he actually became Jimmy Carter.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Fit as flat earther? Yep. That's that thing about Megyn Kelly being Nicole Brown Simpson. That's
I was just looking that up.
Theory. That's
so
a
Nicole
pretty
Brown Simpson,
theory.
Born, I didn't know she was German. So born May 19th, 1959 in Frankfurt, Germany, and allegedly died in 1994. But so 59, 41, 61. So she'd be in her late 60s right now. I don't know. Is Megyn Kelly?
I don't know how old Megyn Kelly
Close
is.
to that old?
She might be. It's hard to tell with these people. Plus, they drink that baby juice.
You know, so they say, yeah, Megyn Kelly was born in 1970. That's
Oh,
what the
Lord,
internet's
she-
telling me.
Right, right, right. We don't really know. Listen, man, I got to tell you, these people, you know, I don't think they're like us at all. You know, a lot of people out here in the regular world are talented. They aspire for fame. They aspire to be like that, but they don't get the chance. They don't get the opportunity. They don't get there. And it's always these, you know, other people. And it's so crazy how they stay around for so fucking long. You know, and even what they do in the movies, like when you see a movie where Al Pacino's in it or something like that, and then you realize how old the motherfucker is when he's playing this part. He's playing the part of a 40-year-old man, and he looks the part because they got him, you know, made up and everything else like that. But he's playing the part of a 40-year-old man, and he's actually in his 70s. So they can do a lot with that, you know. It's I don't know, a lot with these.
Yeah, all
masks.
they have to do is I've seen like the behind the scenes on how they can make someone look really young,
Yeah.
and even though they're old, and yeah, sometimes they'll like have one of these like retro type of scenes showing that
Yeah.
oh yeah, back when he was only 25 or something, here's what he would have looked like, and then they can do it. You know, it takes a lot of editing and stuff like that, but they have to put like different like stripes and dots on people's faces and stuff, and
Yeah. What was that movie I saw? It was about this guy and his grandson wanted to look in his old Foot Locker. And the guy, it was James Cromwell that played the grandfather. And he didn't want the kid to look in it because it would open up memories of the war. And he's like flashing back to memories of the war when he was in World War II. And it's really cool because they used his son, John Cromwell Jr., to play him as a younger version. I swear to God, it looks just like a young version of the dude, man. It was perfect casting. They were really fortunate to be able to. Let me see, just so you know who that guy is.
yeah, I got like 5 more minutes. I gotta get going.
Let's see.
Someone else joined in. Where's Roger and fucking everyone else that's normally here?
I don't know where everybody is, man.
Hey, guys, come on. Or anyone else in the chat. The link is right there.
I'm going to be popping off here in about another 10 minutes, though.
Oh, okay. So I'll hang out until the end then.
Let me see. Here's the image. This guy. I know you know this guy. This actor. Once you see him, then you'll know who he is. You recognize him?
Yeah, I know he's been in a lot of stuff. I just
Yeah, he's one of those character actors that you never think of as a big star or whatnot. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, look at that! I called out the Roger, and there he is.
Yeah, he's here.
You called me out? I didn't know.
Let's
What
see
do you
if I
call
can
me out on?
find,
I summoned you.
No. Well, my experiences with lying is that you're going to eventually get caught.
Yep.
That's just all I can tell you right now. Somebody will figure it out, whether here, now, or later. Why do it? You know?
Oh, he just died.
Who?
James Cromwell. He died last year. Huh. I'm trying to see if I can find a picture of his son. Because it was so good. He's like, yeah, hell, he was in Babe, he was in Star Trek First Contact, LA Confidential, Deep Impact, The Green Mile, Space Cowboys, The Longest Yard, The Queen, something called W, Secretariat, The Artist, Still Mine, The Promise, Marshall, Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, Emperor. I wonder where's that movie.
Hey, well, hey, real quick, I'm gonna get going. I'm super fucking hungry. I need to go get some food. So, cheers, everybody. In
All right,
chat,
man.
Dave, Roger, have a great night.
Thanks for summoning me. I promise. I mean,
Until next time, I'll be in the background though, listening.
All right, brother. Let's see.
I didn't know he summoned me. I had no idea.
Yeah, he says, "Where is everybody at? Where are you at, Roger?" And all this other. And he called out a bunch of people, and then you came and showed up. Let's see, where's this thing of his family at? Damn it.
Well, I like Babe as a movie. That was a good one. He did a good job with that movie, actually. That'll do, Pig. That'll do.
Yeah, Memorial Day 2012 movie. That's what it's called. Memorial Day. It's a good movie. Nah, it doesn't give me the thing for him.
Sue's summoning me again with my name 3 times.
3 times. That's what we got to do. We got to have 3 times. Look, you're the only one left. The only one left. Anyway, this was pretty good. I thought I'd share this with y'all before we go here tonight. I like when this guy, he's coming out of the tank a little bit, I think.
I'm so sick of the Zionist lies and bullshit about Israel. Like, fucking everything they say about it's all bullshit. Israel, not our greatest ally. They're not even our ally. The United States has never had an alliance agreement with Israel. Never. We have strategic defense agreements that say, like, oh, if somebody looks at Israel wrong, we'll bomb the fuck out of them. Or if somebody fucking says something naughty about Israel, we'll give Israel $80 billion. Like, that's all the agreement is. The agreements between us and Israel are we'll just pay for anything Israel wants, and if we need help, Israel just gives us the finger. Like, they get us into all these Middle Eastern wars, and we have alliances, right? Canada's an ally. They sent troops to help us fight in the Middle East. Every one of our allies sent troops to help us fight Iraq and Afghanistan and Syria and all that shit. Guess who didn't? Israel. They're their wars. That's who wanted these wars. They don't fucking fight them. They don't fucking fight them. They just scam us. They scam us, and they're like, oh, if you don't agree with fucking the U.S. getting scammed out of it, you're anti-Semitic. And it's like, motherfuckers, you Israelis, you're not even Semitic. Semitic does not mean Jewish. Semitic means you're from the Middle East. The majority of the Jews in Israel, they ain't from the Middle East. They're from fucking Eastern Europe. They're from Poland. Milkowski, yeah, BB Satan Yahoo, that ain't even motherfucker's real name. No, dude, he's a Polish fucking immigrant. They're from Poland. He ain't Semitic. You know who is Semitic? The Iranians are Semitic. The Palestinians, they're Semitic. Semitic people means born and from the Middle East. Like, that's what that is. It's not, oh, the Jews are Semitic, and that comes back to the whole definition. They've completely lied about what the definition of anti-Semitic is. The Jews run around and go, you're anti-Semitic. That doesn't mean you hate Jews. Being anti-Semitic means that the Jews hate you. And that brings you around to the other biggest lie. People are like, oh, the Jews own media. No, the Jews don't own media. One Jew owns the media. It's just single Jew. Larry Ellison. That's the dude who owns the media. Yeah, it's not Jews. It's just one. It's the Jew that owns the media. Zionist fucks run around like we ain't got the internet and like we don't know any history. Israel wasn't even created after World War II. No, it was created after World War I by the Zionists in the British Parliament. And you know who was against the creation of Israel? The one Jew that was in British Parliament. He was like, this is a horrible idea. You can't create an ethno-state. You're going to make everybody hate the Jews. And he's like, no, I'm against this shit. But all the Zionists, you know why they created Israel? Because they had found oil in the Middle East and they were like, fuck, dude, we got nobody in the Middle East. We need a base. We need a base to control the Middle East and fuck shit up. And so they're like, why don't we fucking create one for the Jews and we'll claim it's for the Jews, but it'll really be for these fucking Zionists. Like, that's the fucking distinction here. The Zionists, while they are Jews, some Jews are Zionists, but all Zionists are not Jews. A lot of them are Christians. These Zionists, some of them are just Satanists. Like, it's fucking, oh my God, dude. None of what these Zionists say about Israel's, it's not even close to reality. That's why Ben Shapiro and Timo Ben Shapiro, that fucking Josh Hammer, or Mark Levin, none of them will debate Nick Fuentes. Because Nick comes with facts, all they got is bullshit. And if you put bullshit up against facts, as we've all learned, just like Corona, Your bullshit wall will
Right.
not stand. Tear down this wall of bullshit. We're done with you. We're done with you. We're hip to the scam. So fucking figure it out, Republicans. And that's all of fucking Congress. It's like, yeah, the Zionists might not own the media. It's just one, right? But they definitely own fucking the Congress and Senate and the entire fucking U.S. government. And we're kind of fucking fed up with it. We all know it. You can't lie your way out of it. So just accept it and get the fuck out, because we aren't having it anymore. You kiss the wall, you get no votes from us. America first, motherfuckers, or nothing.
Yep.
We'll call it America only. We'll do
Gotta
that one
start
too.
somewhere.
Good luck to you all. Keep noticing things. Long live the Republic.
You know, they got to start somewhere. As soon as then, if they can figure out that patriotism is not a loyalty to your government, it is a loyalty to your people and your nation. It has nothing to do with your government or who's the president or whatever kind of fucking ambiguous slogan they come up with, like "Make America Great Again." Okay, great. All right, that sounds good. So when was America great, and what defines greatness? Everybody got a different idea. They never did lay that out, what it was. Everybody had in their own mind when America was great and what that definition of greatness actually was. They don't. It's time people need to start thinking. Listen to what you hear and go, does that make fucking sense to me?
Yeah, and I get what you're saying completely. And I can't put my finger on a point in time when I actually thought America really was great.
Well, there again, that's assuming that we were great.
Yeah.
I mean, what is the definition of greatness? Military might, economic prosperity. What? We've never had all those things at once, you know? So it's an ambiguous statement. It's nonsense. It's oh, we're living up to it. Well, are you? Well, yeah, this is what I thought was great. Weren't you on board with that? Well, no, that's not what I thought great. I thought it was like in the 80s. And somebody else pipes up and says, yeah, but the 50s were cool during that one time when we had this. And it's just a bunch of nonsense and shit. And this guy, man, the longer he's in, the worse I see him as. I really do. I mean, he's really, there's so many people, I guess, that are having buyer's remorse on this clown. Yeah, I mean, really. This is an article, an op-ed, I guess it was in the UK. A guy named Oliver Kornetsky. And he wrote this back in August about Trump. It said, behold, the festering carcass of American rot shoved into an ill-fitting suit, the sleaze of a con man, the cowardice of a draft dodger, the gluttony of a parasite, the racism of a Klansman, the sexism of a back alley creep, the ignorance of a barstool drunk, and the greed of a hedge fund ghoul, all spray painted orange and paraded like a prize hog at a county fair. Not a president, not even a man, just the diseased distillation of everything this country swears it isn't, but has always been. Arrogance dressed up as exceptionalism, stupidity passed off as common sense, cruelty sold as toughness, greed exalted as ambition, and corruption worshipped like gospel. It is America's shadow made flesh, a rotting pumpkin idol proving that when a nation kneels before money, power, and spite, it doesn't just lose its soul. It shits out its bloated obscenity and calls it a leader. That is scathing, to say the least. That is scathing.
Yeah, but we made him what he is, though. Think about it. America, especially the pop culture of America. I think, excuse me, put him in this position. They did. They voted for him. They accepted what he was saying. They're stupid enough to just buy into any of his rhetoric. And now they got to lick up their own vomit, dude. They really do.
Is Pebbles still here with us tonight? Is Pebbles still out there?
Oh, let me look. See.
I just ran across. She changed her profile pic. And it's really nice. I like it. It's a good one. I just wanted to say, hey, good. Well, they got 3 hours. I think I'm gonna wrap it up. Oh, well, here's D-Man finally shows up when I'm shutting down.
Oh, you're shutting it down?
Yeah, we're going 3 hours now.
I just turned it on and you were like, where is everybody? I didn't even see a timer. Well, it's good to see you guys. I'm glad good to see everybody in chat.
Yeah. We just we're coming up on 3 hours right now. I know. I gotta work tomorrow. Gotta be there. I got a 5-minute commute. That's all right, man. We're just running trim. And I like doing that.
My dad was in Korea.
Your dad was
My father was in Korea. He was on a ship in the Navy for 8 years.
So you was never in the service yourself, D-Man?
No, well, just a great meme war of 2019.
Oh, good.
It
You
was
didn't go through all that dumb bullshit, that brainwashing nonsense.
Oh, they break you in the military. I know that. My dad.
Trauma-based mind. Basic training is trauma-based mind control. 100%. They deprive you of sleep. They deprive you of nutrition. They jack you up on all these fucking vaccines that put you in like Loopyville for a couple of weeks. Listen, it's a you never forget it. I guarantee you never fucking forget it. One of the best depictions I have ever seen of what basic training was like is in Full Metal Jacket. That is the best depiction of what basic training was like, right there. And those motherfuckers back then, they could sock you in the gut. That was standard. They could sock you in the gut like that. They were just like, there's nobody got any more power than a fucking like God than a drill sergeant at basic training. I'm not shitting you.
Told me that, his gunny actually would literally knock people out and drag them downstairs when he didn't obey what they're told to do. They can get away with it. Your property of the government, dude.
Listen, the thing is that they only have to do that once.
Yeah.
That ain't no shit. They only have to do it once. Everybody else falls right in fucking line. Ain't no kid. Man, and listen, this is wild. This is a funny story I'll tell real quick. When you first get to the MEP station, and you're there and you get shipped off, they're going to issue you your uniforms, they're going to shave your head, they're going to do all this shit, you get all your vaccines and everything, right? You get to kind of joking and talking with the other guys. Well, then you go in for your haircut. And you don't recognize anybody coming out the other end. You just don't, because here's all these fucking people with their heads shaved down bald. Well, there was this one guy that, I shit you not, his head was shaped like somebody had joined two orbs together. Okay, from front to back, though. It was like from front to the back. If you were looking at him sideways, his head was kind of shaped like a peanut in the shell. You know what I mean? And we were down there getting our TA-50, and I saw that dude. Nobody noticed it till after they shaved his head, and it was like, oh my God. I mean, it was really something to see. We're getting our TA-50, all our combat gear and shit, and they're trying to find a helmet to fit this motherfucker's head. And the drill sergeant was getting mad at him because they couldn't find a fucking helmet that would fit his weird shaped head and shit. And started calling him fucking roller coaster head and made him do push-ups because his head was deformed, man. Poor motherfucker.
Poor guy, dude. I mean, he couldn't help he had a peanut for a head.
I know. That's what I was thinking. I was like, this is so hateful. Look at this poor motherfucker. Can't help it that he's got a peanut-shaped head like that. They should.
They'd have to put a foam insert on the inside of the helmet so it doesn't tip around.
He was real good with that cunt cap, though. That one fit him pretty good. But it was just that helmet was having a problem with it.
Yeah. And my dad tried to get me to join the Navy, and I spent 2 weeks with a recruiter and I went over everything. And I'm like, I'm not going to spend 6 months out at sea. I mean, that doesn't sound exciting to me. And I know the stories from on board ships, so I'm like, nah, I think I won't. So I just went back into the workforce again.
Yeah,
That's when I was 18. Yeah.
Ain't no sense in it. I was 17, and I remember, you know how you not really getting along very well with your parents and shit, right?
Of course.
I was out of school, and my dad, he was, you know, my hair was all long and shit, and I was playing in a band. He goes, "What the fuck are you gonna do with your life?" I was high as a motherfucker. I was on mescaline on a microdot, and there was an army commercial on the TV, and like out of nowhere, I just told him, I says, "I don't know, maybe I'll join the army." And he goes, "Oh, you're gonna join the army?" I says, "Yeah, why not?" And he says, "You want to join the army, you smart ass motherfucker?" I was like, "Yeah." He says, "All right, come on, I'll sign for you. Let's go."
Did you regret that?
Yeah,
Kind of.
yes and no. You know, I got to say yes and no, because those were some pretty crazy experiences that I had, but I don't recommend people go through them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of shaped who I am, but not everybody's going to get shaped like the same.
No.
And I mean, I saw it for what it was, like from day one, you know, so I just kind of like played the fucking game. You know, but I knew better. I was like, this is some bullshit. And they're telling you, yeah, even if they torture you, you can't tell them shit. I'm like, motherfucker comes at me to pull my fingernails out. I'm telling them every fucking thing. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm not holding back. That shit that ain't for me. No way. I'm saying
How unpatriotic of you.
heinous, man. There's a reason they do it. You know, it works.
Well,
Anyway.
it was good. It was good to hear you guys.
Yeah, man. Sorry you got here so late, man. Maybe tomorrow night or whatever.
All right.
I'm maybe gonna do. I think. Let's see. We probably ain't working. Yeah. Well, if the material isn't coming, we're not doing that over at that place tomorrow. I don't know. Well, we'll see what happens. We can always go early at 8:00.
They got me working a double tomorrow.
Huh?
They got me working a double tomorrow. We got
Oh,
people quit
shit.
on it. Yeah.
Take it and run.
Oh yeah, get what you can right now, especially around this time of year. Everybody gonna be wanting shit. You know, I got that Christmas bullshit coming up. I don't deal with that.
I got grandbabies to buy Christmas stuff for.
Yeah. Oh, it was funny. Ryan said they was on their way back, and Alexa started crying, and she said she missed and wanted to see her new mama and papa. That's what she calls us, because she sees her other grandparents all the time. And she calls it, yeah. So we're, you know, because she only gets to see us like on Skype or, you know, on FaceTime or whatever, or, you know, when we can visit. And so she calls us new mama and new papa.
Nice.
It's pretty funny. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. It's 11 o'clock. I got to get to bed. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Everybody that came into the chat tonight. Hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure and join us on the next show. We're going to be doing the next chapter, which is chapter 5 of the Word Magic book by Pao Chang. That chapter is entitled How the Legal and Commerce System Drain Your Energy. So that'll be kind of interesting. We can go over that. And then also open panel, of course, as always. Maybe Wesley will come back. He might be able to. That was so fucking stupid. You know, I heard him get the glass. I said, "You're getting a glass of water, aren't you?"
I was already painting the picture. Didn't you hear me giggle?
I know, man. I was like, yeah, what, that glass is a physical container, you fool. But
I want to do a stream comparing him to Einstein. So.
Oh God.
He idolizes Einstein instead of.
Why?
I don't know.
He doesn't know why either. Because you know what? He doesn't really understand anything that Einstein said. You know, and if somebody pretends to, okay.
All right.
Okay, because what Einstein said was fucking nonsense. Imaginary, weird shit that doesn't really exist. It's just crazy. And people won't critically think because they're mesmerized by all these mathematics. And I was like, wait a second. You're saying that this gravity can bend light? The only thing that can bend light is a medium. You're suggesting a medium. And I don't know. It sounds like they're talking about displacement anyway. So
Yeah, well, that's what they replaced it. The specific gravity replaces RDD
with gravity.
Yeah, throw the G in there, buddy. But I mean, it doesn't work on the quantum level. They don't use any gravitational equations when they do quantum experiments.
Well, it's fucking defies the conservation of energy, anyways. I mean, it's like, hold on a fucking minute here. If energy cannot be destroyed or created, it can only be transformed or transferred. Where is the energy coming from to create a gravitational force? And why does it never run out?
And in the conversion, there's loss.
Of course.
So it's not continuous.
No, it couldn't. That's why if it was...
That's why there's no perpetual motion machines.
So I love to hear him say that. Mass attracts mass. Okay, cool. Why?
But I'm the donkey.
Yeah.
Are you? Okay, so I got a question for you. Can you really define what mass is?
Yeah, and it's this thing Catholic people do. They all get together, and the priest comes out there and says, Dominus Omus, Chemo Sabi, shit like that.
Don't forget the wafer and wine.
They eat a little cracker, a really bland cracker, and some weak ass wine. They could really probably boost up recruitment for that if they jazzed it up a little bit. Instead of weak ass wine and then bland ass crackers, put a little cheese whiz on those motherfuckers and serve shots of Jack. Do that.
Get you really lit.
Over well with the Irish Catholics, I guarantee it. 100%. We need more mass, I tell you. Oh boy, it's time for mass. I'm getting in line again. I sinned a bunch this week, Father.
All right. Must be hanging out at the church waiting for mass.
Mikey, you're right on the nose with that. He didn't believe that nonsense either. He knew what this fucking bullshit was about. It was an enslavement of people's minds, man. He was, of course, a small hat himself.
Just keep people in line.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for coming up. Everybody shut up. If you want to donate to the show, the link is you can either do Cash App or you can use the PayPal link. It's down in the description of the video. And as always, don't forget, the Lord loves the working man. Don't trust Whitey. See your doctor. Get rid of his ass because he'll probably fucking kill you. And if you heard the shot, probably wasn't meant for you. We'll see you next time on Sovereign Soul Unchained Mind. Good night, everybody.